a win here, and it could very well go the other way. But for the Bombers, there's a lot of keys here. Caroline Weiss, 18 goals with 24 points right behind her, leading the team. Sydney Phillips, second in the team in terms of goals with 19. So for the Bombers, the key is here to get the ball towards the net.
I agree. If you have 19 goals in the year already, you just got to keep shooting.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you right there. And as for St. Lawrence, not many of their players in the top 10. Nev Lee has 8 goals and 1 assist, has only started in 1 game. Alongside with that, Raylan Bovenzi has a .365 save percentage heading into today. So for St. Lawrence, what is the keys for you?
For St. Lawrence, their goalie has been struggling so far this year, so I think they're going to have to keep up their defensive play and keep it moving, and they're going to have to try to keep the ball in the offensive zone because, like I said, their goalie has been struggling, so if they can keep the ball in the offensive zone, their goaltender won't be as relied upon to make as many saves.
And now Ithaca, 5th in the Liberty League in goals against with 9.57, as compared to St. Lawrence with 12.75. So for St. Lawrence, another factor to take into this is to not concede as many goals and to close out defensively against the Bombers, because you don't want players like Caroline Wise getting those opportunities towards the net.
Yeah, if Caroline Wise can get those opportunities, she's going to put it away like she's done all season long. And even so, but Sydney Phillips is also going to get up there. Lexi Held has been phenomenal in net, though. So what do you think she's going to do?
Well, Lexi Held has done a great job in net. A .478 save percentage, has started all 7 games this season. She's been 3 sub in 3 of them. And she's had a great year as well, but I think a key for her is obviously to stand her ground. Every time you have a matchup like this with 2 goalies who've had a very solid year, it's all about which one can break the least. And for Held, it's about standing your ground in this type of matchup. And anytime you're playing in a Liberty League game like this, you never want to give your opponent anything. So for the Bombers here, it's about not giving St. Lawrence any opportunities.
Yeah, if they give St. Lawrence the opportunities, there's a likelihood that they could capitalize on them, but the opportunity will be at the draw. Do you think that St. Lawrence will be able to win the draws, or do you think it'll be Ithaca winning the draws?
I'm going to have to say I'm going to go with the Bombers here. The Bombers have had more of the advantage this year in draws. The Bombers, besides having the advantage in the draws, they've been the better offensive team throughout this season, and the team is 3rd in assists per games, along with the 8th in goals per game, but 2nd in terms of total goals with the 100. So I'd say for the Bombers, it's about winning the draw, because if they could win those draws, which I think they do today, it could definitely provide a lot of chances for them in this game.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be more of a possession game, or do you think it'll be turnovers throughout the whole game?
I'd have to say possession. And if you're St. Lawrence, especially when you're playing a team like the 13th ranked Bombers, it's about getting the ball away from them and not giving the Bombers any chance. And the less possession that the Bombers have, the better for St. Lawrence. And for St. Lawrence, it's about controlling this game and playing your pace.
Yeah. If St. Lawrence can control this game, they will have a good opportunity to win. But Ithaca has been doing that well all year long. They've had the offense, like you said, and their defense has been pretty good as well. So I think the advantage will come down to who can win the draws and who can cause the least amount of turnovers.
Yep. You have St. Lawrence, who will definitely be looking for revenge from last year. The last time these 2 teams met, Ithaca won the last meeting against St. Lawrence by a final score of 18-9. The Bombers 2-0 in conference play. St. Lawrence looking to snap that here today at Higgins Stadium and the Bombers' own home territory, whereas the Bombers looking to move to 3-0 in conference play and 6-2 overall in the year and gain some momentum, gain some confidence heading into their next matchup.
The Bombers have been doing well all year, like you said. They're 2-0. Now, if St. Lawrence can snap that streak, that would be great for them. But I believe that the Bombers will be able to keep it in the St. Lawrence zone and keep going and moving forward.
Yeah. And now, Ron, I'd like to ask you, what are your keys to this game for the Bombers?
Well, I've been stressing this enough. I think it's going to be a possession game. If they let the ball get turned over constantly, it's going to be a hard time for them to get the ball back, because St. Lawrence has been pretty good defensively all year round, so they're not going to be causing the ball to turn over. But for St. Lawrence, I think they're going to have to try to find a way to get past Lexi Held and keep Caroline Wise from scoring.
Yeah, and you could definitely, and besides talking about possession, this being a possession game, and this could even be an offense versus defense game. You mentioned St. Lawrence's defense standing out for them, as the Bombers scoring, again, 2nd in terms of total goals with 100 on the year. It's really an offense versus defense game.
Yeah. An offense versus defense game, they tend to be more exciting. I think that if Ithaca can keep the offense going, they should have a good shot tonight.
Yep. Any final thoughts?
I think that's all we got for you.
Well, that'll do it for the pregame show here. Tune in for the game. We have Alex Trapru and Eli Fishman on the call here at Higgins Stadium.
Two Liberty League powerhouses and two of the top teams in the nation square off on the South Hill as the number 12 ranked Ithaca College Bombers host the number 22 ranked St. Lawrence University Saints to kick off the weekend with a rivalry match at Higgins Stadium. Eli Fishman alongside Alex Chiprood on Bomber Sports. We thank you for joining us this afternoon. The Bombers enter this one at 5-2, coming off a win versus RPI last Saturday in Troy for their second Liberty League win of the season after a blowout win of Rochester on March 11th. From here on out, 8 of their final 10 games are Liberty League battles. That starts today with the number 22 Saints, who come into this one 3-2 overall and 1-0 in conference play, coming off the high of a thrilling 11-10 victory over Stevenson down in Maryland last weekend in overtime. And Alex, this is what the season comes down to. This is really the first rivalry matchup, not just for the Bombers, but in the Liberty League in general, as two of the top teams. You have William Smith, you have Ithaca, you have St. Lawrence as the three powerhouses, not just in the Liberty League, in the Northeast in general, facing off throughout the season in the Liberty League, and this is where it all starts.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned William Smith and St. Lawrence and the Bombers, obviously. All three of those teams ranked in the top 20 or 25 in the country, and this is going to definitely be a big powerhouse. Ithaca already having a ranked opponent lost earlier in the season against number 14 Cortland at the time, 8-9 in a absolute thriller of a game, but a heartbreaker here at home, losing. And really for the Bombers, if they lose this game and have 2 ranked losses on their record, it's going to be very, very tough for them to get a high ranking in that national power rankings.
And St. Lawrence is 3-2, but one of the big reasons for their ranking is the strength of schedule. Their first game against number 23 SUNY Geneseo, a 14-10 win. A couple games later, Middlebury College, the number 1 team in the nation, they lost 15-3, but the power of those teams has contributed to their ranking. Stevenson, a powerhouse in Maryland as well, as Caroline Wise goes to the draw circle, who broke the record for her career, only 2 years into her career as a Bomber, for draw controls.
Absolutely. I mean, she also finished 4th all-time in Division III history last year in draw controls.
And it will be a violation in favor of the Bombers. So Wise wins the first draw control against Dana Fernandez, and we are underway. It's Nordyke behind the net, trying to make a push towards the net. And she's going to be stuffed up by the defense, and that's Kate Wilson, the captain.
Yeah, Maisie
Beach
tried to make a play there on a little cut, and now it looks like a free position shot for the Bombers. First opportunity to score some goals in this game.
Already a free position shot. A big opportunity. You got to capitalize. Nordyke, or Veach rather, for the goal.
Maisie Beach doing a great job there of cutting inside and using her big frame in order to get behind the goalkeeper a little bit, move to her right, and taking a clean shot down low into the net. An easy goal for Veach. And one, it's great to see Veach getting some goals early on in the year. In her first 3 games, she only had 2 goals to start of the year, but she has been on an absolute tear so far, and she starts this game off right where she left off.
15 goals on the season for Veach, and taking advantage of those free position shots is going to be huge for this Bomber team. In net for the Saints is Raylan Bavenzi, a .365 save percentage this season. And the Ithaca offense starts with a bang. Back to the draw circle at the Ithaca Bomber logo at midfield. Bombers moving left to right. And Wise flicks it up and takes it a few steps back. And the Bombers get possession. 2-0 on the day to start from the draw control circle. 104 from 85, 485.
Absolutely. I mean, Caroline Wise is leading the Liberty League with 62 draw controls so far this season. She is one of the best in the country at draw controls, and she's showing it so far.
Bombers go around the net, Green behind it, with tough defense to Nordyke. Nordyke on the near side. Passes it to the top and Phillips, and that one is going to be a takeaway on the St. Lawrence side. The Saints moving right to left. A couple passes back to the goalie now in Bavenzi.
Yeah, Bavenzi has not had the best start to the season. 54 goals against and only 31 saves and 2 losses on 110 shots faced. Not the great start from her that we would like to see. However, she can definitely improve in this game, facing a tough ranked opponent in the Ithaca Bombers.
And Ithaca knows that. They know they've had she's had her struggles in goal so far. The defensive front has been strong all year for St. Lawrence, though. Primarily a man-to-man offense, and puts a lot of pressure on the ball, as we saw in that first possession with the takeaway. As around the 12-meter line goes St. Lawrence, and that's going to be a takeaway on the Bombers side. Bombers have numbers. That would be Green who picked up that takeaway.
Absolutely. Green doing a great job of playing defense back there, and the Bombers able to get a quick turnover, and now are trying to bring it back up and use that ride in order to get the ball into their offensive zone.
It's Hosford. Moving towards the goal, to the back of the goal now. In Wise. Wise looking for somewhere to pass. Looking for an angle. A pass to Armstrong.
There's going to be another foul there, and it looks like it's going to be another free possession shot for the Bombers here. 2 already to start this game, and they're 1 for 1 so far. Let's see if they can't get another one.
Armstrong. From the top of the 12-meter line, goes and a high shot over the net. No good. Bombers will retain possession.
Yeah, it looked like her stick might have gotten hit from one of the defensemen. It looked like it was Jackie Cloutier, actually, one of the captains on the St. Lawrence squad, who was able to get a piece of Armstrong's stick and deflect that shot high.
And after corralling behind the net, St. Lawrence, he's able to take it across the field. And in transition are the Saints. Powell behind the net. Passes to the far side. And Fernandez around the line. Push towards the goal. Pass to the top of the goal. And a goal for St. Lawrence. Count it for Rachel Burke, and it's a 1-1 game with 11:36 remaining in the first quarter.
Defense of the Bombers broke down there a little bit, allowed Rachel Burke to get right at the left side of that net and have an easy shot. Not much that Lexi Held could do. A cross-body pass came across to Rachel Burke, and it was an easy throw-in for her. There's not a whole lot that Lexi Held could have done there. Her defense, unfortunately, not able to really stop her from getting to that position right outside the crease. An easy sort of 3-foot shot for her.
And Fernandez gets the assist. The perfect pass going over top of the metal bar. And right into the stick of Burke, who had a perfect shot on it. Just to the left of the helmet of Held in net, who's been tremendous all season.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Lexi Held. 158 shots faced and a 48% save percentage on 54 saves. I mean, she's been tremendous in net all year long, started all of the games for the Ithaca Bombers team. I mean, she has one of the highest minute totals in the Liberty League right now, and she has been absolutely tremendous. A little bit of a shaky start for her so far in this game, but only allowing 1 goal so far is pretty good for her.
Wise wins the draw to Veach. On the far corner. Now behind the net to Nordyke. Nordyke, 21 goals on the season.
Currently leading the Liberty League in that category, actually.
And she's trying to get a shot off herself towards the goal, and Nordyke, let's see.
I think that was a good goal. Nordyke got shoved there a little bit towards the end of that play, but she did get the shot off, and the ball did go in the net. It looks like the refs are going to be counting it because they are checking her stick right now. So I think the refs are going to count that goal for Chloe Nordyke. That's her 22nd goal of the year, and the Bombers find themselves up 2-1.
It will indeed count. Nordyke, already a .778 shot on goal percentage this season. The leading shooter of this Bombers team puts them up by a score of 2-1, 10:58 left in the first quarter. Bombers 3-0 from the draw so far, thanks to Wise. We'll have another opportunity. Meets Fernandez at the Bomber logo at midfield, and this time it will be Fernandez who's able to win the draw control in St. Lawrence. All white uniforms moving right to left. And Powell making moves, a far pass to the top left side. And throwing into traffic is Sundstrom. So that will go out of bounds.
A sloppy pass there from St. Lawrence leads to a turnover. That ball actually went out back at the end line, and now it's the Bombers bringing up with Elizabeth Green coming up the field. A sloppy turnover there. St. Lawrence has already find themselves down 2-1 in this game. They cannot be affording against a very good ranked opponent in this Ithaca Bomber squad to turn over the ball in their offensive zone too many times in this game.
Bombers in transition after the errant pass by St. Lawrence. Gives Blue the ball. It's Hosford on the far side to Wise. Setting up a play is Green at the top of the arc. And now just to the right of the net is Veach. Back to the top of the 12-meter line in Wise, looking for a pass to Nordike, who put the Bombers up 2-1 with 9:26 left here in the first quarter. Ball on the ground. Veach pushes towards the goal. She shoots. It's high. But the Bombers will retain possession, corralling it from behind the net. There's 10 on the shot clock. Nordike. 6 seconds for the Bombers. The shot, and it's going to be picked up by Mavenzi in goal. Just getting it off was Wise just before the shot clock expired. But Mavenzi gets the save for first of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, a tremendous job there by the St. Lawrence Saints defense. They just completely blocked up all of the passing lanes for the Ithaca Bombers. They didn't allow any cutters into the 8-meter fan, and that's a great job there of shutting down this Bombers offense and really causing them to almost get a shot clock violation pretty much is what it resulted in at the end of the play.
Mavenzi, 32nd save of the season. A .365 save percentage coming into this one. Something the Bombers looking to take advantage of. Locked down in their third possession there as a steal by Maisie Veach on the ground ball. And Bombers in transition.
Another sloppy turnover there by the Saints. They're giving the Bombers way too many chances in order to take it into their offensive zone. And the St. Lawrence Saints are not getting a consistent or a long possession in their offensive zone, or the Bombers' defensive zone in this case. And it's going to be really hard for them to generate scoring opportunities when they cannot get a consistent and long zone possession.
And a shove here on the St. Lawrence side knocks Chloe Nordike to the ground.
And that's going to be a yellow card. That is going to be St. Lawrence finding themselves a man down. It was Maggie Green for the Saints who will pick up the yellow card against Chloe Nordike.
So another opportunity for the Bombers. Pair of free position shots already. The first of them resulting in the goal for Veach. And now a woman down opportunity to capitalize on for the Bombers. Already leading 2-1 against the number 22 team in the nation, in the Saints.
St. Lawrence is more shooting themselves in the foot here. Sloppy turnovers and a bad penalty there is going to give the Bombers a huge opportunity to take a 2-goal lead in this game.
And the passing game is going to be big on the St. Lawrence side, given the Ithaca defense so far this year. Still looking.
Looks like it's going to be another free possession shot here. Haley Armstrong behind the net, it looks like. Or no, excuse me, Sydney Phillips on the far side.
Phillips ready for the free position. On the far side, raises the stick. Sydney Phillips shoots, she scores. And the Bombers go up by a score of 3-1 with 7:30 left here in the third quarter. Phillips gets her 20th goal of the season.
Yeah, Phillips, third in goals in the Liberty League, and Ithaca actually has one of the 3 players in the top 5 in goals in the Liberty League, and Phillips, one of them, picks up her 20th, and that'll only extend her probably to second now in the Liberty League. And another, now a 2-goal lead for the Bombers. St. Lawrence, they need to stop making these sloppy mistakes so far. They continually are shooting themselves in the foot, and the Bombers are taking full advantage, as they should so far through this game.
St. Lawrence coming off quite the game for Stevenson in their last one. They were trailing by a score of 7-0 at halftime. And then coming back for an 11-10 win. A team with a lot of fight from minute 1 to the finale. And they're down 3-1, but Ithaca knows that they're not anywhere near the clear, and keeping the foot on the gas pedal is going to be key for this Bombers team.
Absolutely. And I mean, even this Bombers team has faced a lot of adversity this season. I mean, and you look at their last win, 13-9 over RPI. They had to come back after going down 3 goals to start that game, and they came back and found a 4-goal win in that game. So this Bombers team is no stranger to adversity or dealing with deficits. However, in this case, the Bombers have a nice lead to start this game. The first game that they've had a nice lead in to start in quite a long time. They were down early against RPI and Amherst in their last 2 matchups.
The loss against Amherst, another one of the top teams in the nation, and their out-of-conference match during spring break trip last week.
A 21-13 loss. It was a rough one to see for the Bombers. However, the Bombers rebounded really well against RPI when they faced the same type of adversity that they saw in the Amherst game, and now they've started really well here today against the St. Lawrence squad.
Another draw control win for Wise. 3-1 from the circle today as the Bombers go around the horn. Wise behind the net. Man-to-man defense for St. Lawrence. Putting pressure on Hall, who shoots, and it's going to be knocked down. Another save by Bavenzi in net. And St. Lawrence able to get the save by the defensive side, and they're in transition. Down 3-1, a big possession coming here for the offense is Bavenzi having trouble even getting this one out of the fan.
Bavenzi taking way too long to get rid of that ball. We saw this in the Cortland game when the Bombers played the Cortland Red Jackets earlier on this year. Morgan Margaret had a hard time getting the ball out of her own stick, and Cortland was getting some goals against because of that.
And a shot and a score for the St. Lawrence Saints. After Bavenzi took some time to get it in transition and across the center line, it's going to be number 37, and Neve Lay with the score, her 9th of the season, and St. Lawrence cuts the deficit to 1. And it was probably 10 seconds between the time that ball got out of the stick of Bavenzi in net and into the goal.
St. Lawrence was really moving that ball up the field really, really quick, and I hadn't even finished my statement before they had scored that goal. And so St. Lawrence definitely putting on some speed there. The first time that we've really seen this from the Saints so far in this matchup, and maybe that's something that they go back to, trying to bring that ball up really with the longer passes and trying to just get it to less and less players and just keep it going up the field faster.
They're a pass-and-shoot team. Always sweep through in the transition. And taking the time from Menin Bavenzi is something you'd probably expect to see throughout the course of this one, as another draw control victory for the Bombers side. And the Ithaca career record holder in Caroline Wise, she checks out. A couple substitutions for either side.
Foul is going to be called there on Maggie Green as she was against Lexi Kellish on the near side of the 12-meter fan. She got a little bit of a cross-check there, and now it's going to be Bombers with another possession, and the St. Lawrence Saints continuing to give fouls in their own defensive zone.
Armstrong to the far side.
Looks like it's going to be another free possession shot here.
Bombers put off a shot, but were fouled before they could get it off, and it will indeed be a free position shot from Maisie Veach.
Yeah, it's going to be Veach here. Let's see if she can get a second one of her day on free position shots.
Bombers leading 3-2. Maisie Veach, the free position. She goes up. She goes in on the top right part of the net, and the Bombers take a 4-2 lead. Second goal of the day for Maisie Veach. 16th on the season. And Bombers come right back after allowing the goal by Lee, and they lead by 2 yet again.
A great response there from the Bombers, taking advantage of yet another foul from the St. Lawrence Saints in their own 8-meter zone. They've given up now 4 free position shots to the Bombers, while the St. Lawrence Saints have got none so far in this game. And Ithaca's taking full advantage of them, having 4 goals, and Maisie Veach having 2 goals already on free position shots. Well, her last game she had 4 goals and 4 goals against RPI. Let's see whether she can get another 4-goal game today against St. Lawrence.
Bombers have put off 8 shots. St. Lawrence has put off 2. Both of them coming on goal, both of them going into the net. 100% success rate for St. Lawrence, who goes to the draw circle line at midfield yet again. Fernandez and Wise, and another win for Wise from the Bomber logo. In transition, that ball knocked down. A fight for the ball on top of the logo in midfield. It's going to be picked up by Mandel and Ithaca. Mandel turns on the Jets. Now to the far right side of the field, setting up a play from behind the net. Passes to Armstrong. Armstrong looking for somewhere to go. Looks at Nordyke. Nordyke flicks it into the net, and another score for the Bombers gives them a 5-2 lead.
What a beautiful pass there from Haley Armstrong from behind the net. Fed a cutting Chloe Nordyke right in front of the crease. A beautiful setup pass from Armstrong. And Nordyke, that is way too easy for her right in front of Bovenzi. No doubt there that she was going to put that one in the back of the net.
The assist for Armstrong, her 15th of the season, leading the team. And back to the draw circle we go. And Wise at the draw circle, has taken 6 in the Bombers' favor, while only 1 has gone to St. Lawrence's favor in Cloutier. And we see how big of an impact that has, as now it's going to be Camp who goes to the draw circle, and she's going to pick up a victory in that one. Spreading the wealth, or the Saints.
Yeah, I think the Saints had to switch up their draw control player because Caroline Wise was just dominating Jackie Cloutier in the draw circle. They really need to try and win those draw controls, considering Ithaca has held the ball in their offensive zone for so long.
Cloutier from the top of the fan to Lee. Back to Powell. A pass and shoot team as we've seen so far. The key has been the passing, and that's going to be an errant pass that goes out of bounds by Camp behind the net. And the Bombers are going to get handed the ball here. And Alex, you talked about how big the passing game is going to be and how taking advantage of those offensive opportunities is going to be huge for the St. Lawrence team. A miscue there, the third miscue on the passing side that have given the Bombers possession. And Elizabeth Green, as the Bombers quickly flip the field from behind the net.
Yeah, yet another just sloppy turnover from the Saints. It seems like they've just been off their game to start this game. I mean, really, they have not looked like like a number 22 ranked team in the country. They really haven't looked like it, considering they have gotten so many turnovers. 4 turnovers for the Saints so far, and the Bombers taking advantage.
Hall shoots, and it's just to the left of the net. And it's picked up by Green behind the net. They're saving the ball from going out of bounds. Tough defense and aggressive defense, pushing her almost all the way out of the right corner by the Saints offense. And now Wise to Hall, to Nordyke. And then back behind the net. And a far pass to the top of the fan and Phillips, who's kind of been that point guard setting up a lot of the plays at the top. And then it's going to be Phillips again, after setting up the pass, almost gives herself an assist, and she goes into the net. It's a 6-2 lead for the Ithaca Bombers with 2:21 left.
It was actually Armstrong who set up that play. It was actually Armstrong at the top of the 12-meter fan that set up that pass to Phillips. Another beautiful pass for the top 5 Liberty League leader in assists. And I mean, Haley Armstrong has had some amazing passes so far in this game. We're barely even towards the end with 2:21 left in the first quarter, and Haley Armstrong has 2 beautiful assists so far throughout this game.
The second one for Armstrong, as I said, playing that position behind the net. She was able to, after Hall's shot was left of the metal, she was able to keep it from going out of bounds, gets the save, and then going over top of the metal bar, gets the assist to give us the 6-2 score in the second home Liberty League game of the season for the Bombers. Another win on the draw control by Wise. And Phillips quickly takes it deep into St. Lawrence territory. Now Nordyke to Veach. Veach A couple moves, pushing towards the net, looking for a gap, and that one she'll shoot, but it's right into the stick of Bovenzi.
Bovenzi, a great save there. She's going to be facing a lot of shots today, but once again, taking a long time to get it out of her stick. That is something to keep an eye on going forward.
And that was Sydney Phillips with some big defense. And now the ball on the ground ball, picked up by Fernandez.
It was actually Nordyke who was trying to steal that pass away from Bovenzi, and she nearly did. She was so close to getting that in her stick.
1:20 left in the first. And 60 on the shot clock for St. Lawrence, who every time they've scored, every time they've put off a shot, which has only been 2 times today, was only in seconds of going across the line, going around the fan and around the perimeter, trying to set a play up. Or the Saints 3-2 on the year, and another errant pass. That one will go out of bounds, and the Bombers will look to capitalize again on another missed pass that goes out of bounds.
Once again, St. Lawrence is shooting themselves in the foot. They are really struggling here in order to try and get consistent offensive pressure because they're turning the ball over on their passes. St. Lawrence, as you've mentioned, Eli, is a pass and shoot team. They've normally been very, very strong in their passing. That's why they're ranked number 22 in the country. However, so far today, 5 turnovers in this first quarter and a really poor start on their offensive side. They just haven't been able to get anything going because oftentimes St. Lawrence is just turning over the ball too quickly.
And we see in transition as well, they're not a team that is going to have one girl run down the field herself. A lot of long passes as the Bombers behind the net. It's Ferguson, rather Hosford, behind it, and a takeaway for the St. Lawrence Saints.
A big no call there at the end of the quarter from Haley Armstrong. She got bodied in a cross-check from her. She went to the ground. However, no foul called there by the referee.
No foul called. A 6-2 lead for the Ithaca Bombers. We'll take a break between quarters, but when we come back to the top teams in the Liberty League, face off. We're through one. Already been quite the game so far. A lot of action. It's 6-2.
Those are the only 2 things that I think you've missed so far. It's just I've memorized all the numbers of all the players.
Just after shots and after scores, let it breathe a little bit.
Okay.
3 seconds.
Okay, I got you.
And in transition as well.
I'll try and keep it shorter. Like I know I was running long on a lot of those.
We go on at like 45.
Okay, I'm good with that. We can do a little like what does St. Lawrence need to do and that sort of thing. I'm good with that.
A 6-2 score between the St. Lawrence Saints and Ithaca Bombers, the number 13 team in the nation. In the Bombers leads with 6. And as we've seen so far this season, Alex, St. Lawrence is a team that plays from behind. They play hard from the first minute to the final minute. And what do they need to do to continue to succeed and come back in this one?
They really need to just clean up their possessions. They have not been able to get a long, continuous offensive possession so far in the first quarter at all, really. They have had a lot of turnovers, 5 turnovers for the St. Lawrence Saints, a lot of them, almost all of them, I believe, coming on errand passes. And that's the number one thing that they need to clean up. You've talked about it throughout the broadcast, how this is a pass and shoot team and how really they rely on that quick passing in order to bring the ball up the field. And as we saw on their second goal, they were able to bring up the ball up the field in like less than 10 seconds and get a quick strike goal. However, so far, St. Lawrence has not been able to do anything with their passing because they've turned the ball over so much. If they can clean that up, they can certainly tighten up this game. As we've seen before, ranked opponents are not going to disappear against this Bomber squad.
That quick passing game has fooled a lot of teams so far that St. Lawrence has run over. But Ithaca not falling for the mind games of the Saints, and they'll look to continue to do so.
Yeah, the Ithaca Bombers defense has been really, really strong so far. They've done a great job of shutting down all of their cutters and really just keeping St. Lawrence to the outer part of the 12-meter fan, and that's what you really need to do in a game like this against a very, very tough ranked opponent. However, St. Lawrence is not necessarily known as a super high-powered offensive team, and they haven't really shown that so far as well. And I think it's a credit to the Bombers defense and to Lexi Held, who have done a great job of shutting down St. Lawrence so far.
More of a passing team in St. Lawrence versus a team with a lot of speed in the Bombers that's been on display. Back to the draw circle, where Ithaca has gotten 7 of the 9 draws in this one. Wise bats it up into her own stick, and a quick opportunity for the Bombers. Nordyke pushes towards the net, now behind it to Armstrong on the near side of the fan. Being pushed outwards by strong defense by Kelsey O'Brien. Second in the Liberty League in caused turnovers per game, as getting a shot off is Wise. That one's left of the goal, but Ithaca maintains possession. Another missed shot for the Bombers. 2 for 12 on shots they are. Make that 2 for 13. That time it's Veach. But a save. It looked like it was deflected by a stick as well. But Bavenzi gets another save in the net. Now another errant pass, and it goes right back to the Bombers.
I talked about earlier how Bavenzi was holding the ball in her stick for way too long, and yet another errant pass and a turnover off of that pass now.
Hall gets tripped up after she's able to come away with the turnover.
It'll be the Bombers' 5th free possession shot of this game so far. St. Lawrence still has none so far through 1 and a bit of a quarter.
The physicality coming back to bite the St. Lawrence Saints. Hall decides not to go to the net, and it's a pass to the far side, and now Armstrong will take it. And Nordyke tries to go almost behind the legs, almost a scraper, rather Phillips. Almost scraping the turf. It goes left. Another missed shot for the Bombers. They retain possession.
That would have been a goal that would have made all the highlight reels forever if Sydney Phillips had converted that shot. That was a between the legs sort of shot there, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Kellish, she goes to the ground, and the Bombers will have another opportunity coming off the foul via the free position.
Yet another free possession shot. This is the Bombers' 6th. St. Lawrence continuously fouling in that 8-meter fan, making it really hard for them to play solid defense.
Kellish steps back to Phillips. Phillips to Veach, who gets the ball knocked out of her stick. Fight for the ground ball. Ithaca retains possession as Veach picks it up. And a pass back to Phillips. Rather, Nordyke towards the net. Pass to the outside of the fan and the top of it to Veach. With less than 30 seconds on the shot clock. As another foul.
It'll be another free possession shot here.
On the St. Lawrence side. And that puts Caroline Wise, 18 goals on the season, the second scorer on this Bombers team, with the opportunity for an opportunity for the free position shot. Wise just left, bounces just left and out of the net.
Wise is one of the taller players on this squad, standing at 5'7", and using that big frame of hers in order to just go straight down the middle of that 8-meter fan and get a great shot off. Unfortunately, just a little bit to the left.
Talk about that errant passing game. Before they're even able to get a pass off, St. Lawrence passes it out of bounds, and Ithaca is going to come right back with possession. 6-2 is the score. Still strong defense from the Saints.
Yet again, another turnover there for the Saints. Now 7 for them so far in this game, and it's really been a story of turnover so far in this matchup that's been limiting St. Lawrence super much, as a turnover there from the Bombers and Haley Armstrong.
Now Ithaca turns it over, and Sundstrom, her 4th caused turnover of the season, puts the Saints in transition, moving left to right now in the all-white uniforms here at Higgins Stadium to start off the weekend on Ithaca Athletics, as a timeout is going to be called on the St. Lawrence side. So they'll start with the ball deep in Ithaca territory in a 6-2 game. And after a few errant passes, an abundance of turnovers, they're going to have the ball with an opportunity, and they call a timeout.
I think Chelsea Martin, the head coach for the St. Lawrence Saints, needs to really design here sort of a set play, I think. I think they need to go something that they've tried and tested and they know that they can go to in order to try and get an offensive chance here, because they really haven't had too many chances. I mean, the only goals that we've seen scored came on a very, very quick, high-paced sort of offensive style. They haven't been able to replicate that so far 4 minutes into this second quarter. And so I think for Chelsea Martin, she's got to try and advocate for these players to go to something that they know, a set play that they've drawn up, and also just to try and maybe take less passes. Like, don't go for such a long pass, all the way across the middle zone of the field. Maybe keep it a little bit shorter. Just pass it across the field to one of your teammates, moving it a little bit up and taking sort of chunk passes all the way up the field. Because that's really been one of the main causes of their turnovers, is errant passes.
And one of the main kinds of offense that this St. Lawrence offense runs is 1v1 drives to the cage immediately after the pass, as we talked about so far, with that quick pass and shoot defense, taking advantage of the one-on-one opportunities. But this Ithaca offense, I mean, we've seen it all year, rather Ithaca defense, this year and last year. And obviously the season that they had last year, going 17-4 and 8-2, the most wins in program history, and one of the top defenses, as they got 2 All-American nods in Rosenberg and Wise. Veach was an honorable mention on the All-American team.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're talking about defense here. I mean, the starters and the players today on defense that have really been making an impact is Caitlin Russell, number 2 for the Bombers, not to mention also Phoebe Hosford, number 15, and number 13, Olivia Pubble. They have all been playing really solid defense and not allowed St. Lawrence to get any sort of cutters, really, getting any sort of main offensive opportunities, and they've done a great job of that so far. And if they continue to limit those cutters that St. Lawrence is going to be trying to get, then it's going to be really hard for St. Lawrence to come back into this game.
Puppo and Green with caused turnovers. A few for Phillips and Hall as well in this one, as St. Lawrence will take it from the near side, and it'll go tossed around the fan. Powell drives towards the net, and she shoots, but it's way over the net, and will go out of bounds behind it.
Great job there by Elizabeth Green, just absolutely bodying Powell and making sure that she could not get a very good shot off.
St. Lawrence retains it. Around the fan after the pass by Powell from the top. Taking a couple steps back, surveying the field to set up a pass. As she makes another push towards the net. And she shoots, but it'll slip out of her stick. She'll go to the ground. And a yellow card on the Ithaca side.
Elizabeth Green, who I just mentioned was playing great defense, picks up a yellow card there. And now the Bombers find themselves down a man for 2 minutes, with a chance now for St. Lawrence to get a much-needed goal to try and get back in this game down 4.
Looking to capitalize. With a woman down, it'll be Powell. A 2-minute penalty for Green. One of the top defenders on the team will be out. Powell, as the whistle is blown and the ball is back in play, passes it backwards as around the fan. And again go the Saints. Another push towards the net, and a foul is going to be called. So it'll be the first free position shot of the afternoon, rather the second for the Saints, and another opportunity to capitalize. Down by 4 in a 6-2 game, 10:36 left after the timeout. It's flipped back, and a shot, it'll be a few feet in front of the goal, and it'll be knocked down by Held. She gets the save, and Ithaca takes possession
A huge missed opportunity there by the St. Lawrence Saints. They had 2 free possession shots in that sequence, and they could not convert either of them. But I will say, in both cases, St. Lawrence did not opt for a very direct sort of route towards the goal as Ithaca has done with their free possession shots.
Now Ithaca quickly behind their own net as a stoppage in play and a whistle is blown. And St. Lawrence, a foul, will take the ball.
I think there was a foul there called on number 18, Matty Hall, who picked up a foul there in the offensive zone.
Now the Saints moving quickly down the field on the near side. Fernandez to Cloutier. As Cloutier surveys the field. Couple of passes back and forth. Waiting for the right opportunity. Down by 4 goals.
I think the more that St. Lawrence tries to look for the perfect pass or the perfect sort of play to get the offensive opportunity, the more they're going to struggle. This Bombers defense is really good at shutting down those cutters, as I mentioned, in between the in the timeout break. And now also I think that St. Lawrence got one of 2 goals that they have so far in this game on a quick strike pass, and I think they need to go back to that.
Another free position shot for St. Lawrence, and another save by Lexi Held.
What a great save there by Held. She bounced that ball off of, it looked like her forearm, and was able to deflect it wide.
Deflects it, but St. Lawrence comes right back. And how about another save for Lexi Held? That one deflects off the stick, and the Bombers will take it.
Another great save there by Lexi Held. She's been tremendous so far in this game with 16 saves so far. A great job from her now as the Bombers and Caroline Wise bring the ball up into the offensive zone. And now Wise will try and look to get the offense started, passing it down behind the net all the way down to Armstrong.
Armstrong getting pushed out to the near side. All around the ring by strong defense from Maggie Green. Someone whose name we haven't said very much so far in this one. 5 turnovers, 5 takeaways. And St. Lawrence is able to get the turnover in Green, but right back are the Bombers. Just as Green got the turnover, it goes out of bounds. She was the last one with the ball in her stick. And now Ithaca continues with the opportunity. A couple ticks, less than 8 minutes left. And another steal for the Saints in transition in all white and red numbering and lettering. A deep pass. And it's Hillman towards the net. As the ball flicked up into the air, and Ithaca now in transition. A back-and-forth game through these last 30 seconds, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, both teams are trying to get quick, fast break opportunities here. As we saw the Saints, as I said before, I thought they needed to go back for that. They tried to go back to it so far a little bit later on in this second quarter now with only 7:16 left. But once again, the Bombers find themselves in the St. Lawrence offensive zone with another opportunity to extend their lead back to 5 goals. As Hall finds Sydney Phillips in the near side 12-meter fan.
They'll want to milk the clock as well. And that's going to be another key in this one. As we have just under 7 minutes left now, is going to be the clock.
Absolutely.
Especially of a comeback team like St. Lawrence.
Absolutely. I mean, the time is eventually going to become the enemy of St. Lawrence, and really the fact that St. Lawrence has not been able to get continuous offensive zone time, and I would not be surprised if the possession percentage is way in Ithaca's favor.
And a whistle was blown after the shot goes in by Wise. She had
It's going to be a free possession shot there. She got fouled in the 8-meter zone before she took that shot.
She had an empty net, but was fouled just before a free position shot. And that one is in for Caroline Wise.
Her first goal of the day. A great job there by Wise to cut in right in front of the crease and get an easy look, just one-on-one in front of the goaltender.
Make it a 7-2 score for the Bombers with 6:33 left. For Wise, her 19th goal on the season. And the Bombers with the foot on the gas pedal here against a ranked opponent, and this would be a huge win. We're still not even at halftime. A comeback team, but this would be a huge win for the Bombers. St. Lawrence is going to play their next game against William Smith. We haven't even really talked about William Smith throughout this game. One of the top teams in the nation these last couple of years. Won the Liberty League tournament last year against Ithaca, who after Ithaca beat St. Lawrence to knock them out in the first round, and then William Smith trampled over Ithaca in the final. And they're looking to repeat this year.
Absolutely. I mean, William Smith, you mentioned William Smith, the number 4 ranked team in the country right now. And as you mentioned, Ithaca lost to William Smith in the Liberty League Championship final. And Ithaca, definitely one of their targets for the year is definitely going to be to take down William Smith. And they're going to play on April 12th in Geneva, New York, And that'll be a really interesting game to see. But a huge game for the Bombers to get their first ranked opponent win of the season, and just a huge confidence boost after losing against Amherst 2 games ago.
And a shot is going to be put off. That one by Nordyke. It will roll out of bounds. But Ithaca will retain possession. And it's Veach from the near side. Inbounds it to Armstrong. Now to Cody. Recently checked in for the Blue as... is there going to be a card? No, it won't, but a foul as going to the ground for the Bombers was Nordyke.
Yeah, Nordyke got cross-checked from behind by St. Lawrence defender, and definitely a very, very physical game so far. There's been a lot of cross-body checks we've seen so far, and a lot of fouls. And so far, another showcase of that is Nordyke will now have a chance to pick up her 3rd goal of the game here and extend this Bombers lead even more to 6 goals.
3rd foul coming against Nordyke on her. We've seen her on the ground quite a few times, taking and beating a physical player herself against a physical defense. And now Nordyke will have an opportunity. She shoots, and it's just wide. It'll go out of bounds. And St. Lawrence and Ithaca will retain it on offense. A push towards the net. Veach, she goes up. That one's going to be knocked down off the stick of Bavenzi. Now St. Lawrence takes it. No, they won't. Phillips gets the takeaway. More errant passing by the Saints, Alex.
Yeah, and right before that, Kelsey O'Brien made a great play on Maisie Veach, or otherwise that would have been an easy goal for Veach. She was right next to the left side of the crease, and Kelsey O'Brien, made a great defensive play there to prevent her goal.
With 5 minutes left, the Bombers now taking their time. Nordyke, as a foul is going to be called, and Nordyke will have another free position shot.
Opportunity for the hat trick here.
Nordyke in a 7-2 ball game makes it 8-2. The Bombers lead by 6 as Chloe Nordyke gets her 3rd goal of the game. How about a hat trick for the junior, and the Bombers lead by 6.
Absolutely. Another masterclass from Nordyke on the free position shot. Just drove straight towards the net and took a great shot to the top right corner of the goal. No chance for Bovenzi to do anything against that shot. And another goal for the Bombers. The Bombers are just keeping their foot on the gas. And like I've said before, it doesn't seem like we've seen St. Lawrence have a good offensive possession so far.
It's true.
They just haven't been able to get any sort of time in the offensive zone.
The exact time in the stat sheet doesn't show up for time of possession, but Ithaca's got to be dominating
Ithaca's going to be like
by 7-8 times.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as St. Lawrence has had the ball. Back to the draw circle, where the Bombers lead 9-2, and the ground ball is going to be picked up by St. Lawrence and Fernandez now, as Wise knocked it deep into St. Lawrence territory. Now with just over 4:30 remaining on the clock. It's Cloutier at the top of the fan to Powell.
Yeah, Jackie Cloutier, a name that we have not called a whole lot today. One of the captains of this team and one of the leaders of this team, leading the team with 5 assists and 25 shots. I would have expected more from her so far in this first half, but once again, the Ithaca defense doing a great job of slowing her down.
Leader in caused turnovers and ground balls as well. From the back of the net, St. Lawrence looking to set something up. Man-to-man defense for the Bombers. As a foul is going to be called. And it will be a free position shot for St. Lawrence, down by 6.
They really need this one if there is going to be an opportunity, because so far the St. Lawrence Saints have not had many opportunities. They need to convert one right here with this free position shot.
Powell. As the whistle is blown, and what a save by Lexi Held. That one almost went through her legs. A quick flip of the bottom hand puts the stick on the ground. And another save for Lexi Held, her 6th of the game.
Another great save there by Held. And once again, she went down low. I feel like a lot of these St. Lawrence players, when they do get shots, they're trying to go low against her. We saw Cortland do the same thing earlier on in the year, and Lexi Held has definitely rebounded from that Cortland game.
A couple balls on the ground in transition for either side. The Bombers had it, then St. Lawrence had it. Another ground ball, and now St. Lawrence retains it. From the right of the net to the far side for the Saints. Taking their time here to set up the right play.
Once again, I think going to the set plays, taking a long time to set up, is not going to be super successful against this Bombers defense.
They set up the play, and when they see it, they make a push for the goal, as they do now. And another shot, 2 in a row. Neither of them will go in. Both either wide left, and then the second one off the stick of Held. And there's a Saint down on the field.
What a great sequence there from Lexi Held as she faced 2 quick succession shots after a rebound came off of her first save, and St. Lawrence was able to pick that up and try and get a second shot off right in front of the crease, and it looked like Lexi Held was able to have to dive for that in order to get that stop, as now the trainers are coming out to check on this St. Lawrence Saint.
Out on the field, players going to a knee for the Saint on the ground in front of the Bombers' net. And Held came all the way out of the net in order to block that second shot. That goal was open, and then there was a fight for the ball in front of it where a few bodies went to the ground.
Yeah, there were several players down on that sequence. It's tough to see exactly who is down right now for the St. Lawrence Saints.
It was Lay who was on the ground, and she gets back up and will be assisted by the trainers and head coach Chelsea Martin. Off the field to an applause from the Bomber crowd here at Higgins Stadium. Friday afternoon matchup to kick off the weekend, as Ithaca will host Clarkson tomorrow here at Higgins, with the men's game before them in an action-packed weekend of spring sports. With baseball as well, the rivalry matchup versus Rochester across campus at Freeman Field.
A very, very packed weekend for the Ithaca Bombers this weekend so far, and a great way to kick it off today for the Ithaca Bombers women's lacrosse team.
An 8-2 lead for the Bombers. Play resumes following the injury. Just over 2 minutes remaining before the half. Green, top of the fan. Now to the near side, and Veach behind the net, setting up a play, a pass, and it's going to be taken away by St. Lawrence. It was Hall who tried to get the pass off and set up the assist right in front of the net for Rivera, who's checked into this game, but it was unsuccessful with the pass, and the Saints had it. After another ground ball, they pick it up there in transition by way of Maggie Green.
Another errant pass from the Saints. They were lucky to retain possession of that, and it was Morgan Era Keelan who was able to pick that ground ball up, but that was intended for the player in front of her, but went over her head.
The Saints again with possession here. They've dominated in possession the last few minutes, Alex, with 1:20 left on the clock. And 45 on the shot clock. St. Lawrence will try to milk that as well. And see, however, they can get the ball into the net. Still man-to-man defense, and a goal for St. Lawrence. Count it. We'll wait to see who it was.
I believe it was Charlotte Powell there who actually got that goal in the top right corner. Lexi Held visibly frustrated after that goal, slammed her stick against the ground. She knows she could have had that save.
Only the third goal allowed by Held.
It was Burke. It was actually Rachel Burke who got that goal. Excuse me, it was not Powell. It was actually Rachel Burke, number 20 for the St. Lawrence Saints, who picked up that goal.
So Burke gets on the board. Her second goal of the game. And it's an 8-3 game with just under a minute left here from Higgins Stadium. And a shutout in this last minute for the Saints would be huge, keeping Ithaca off the board with a little bit of momentum heading to the half.
Absolutely. I mean, the Saints finally have gotten an offensive possession and finally gotten a goal. And Lexi Held could have had that one. That was sort of like a slow-moving shot almost. It was kind of like a change-up in baseball, it almost looked like. That kind of maybe fooled her a little bit, and she was visually frustrated and thought that she probably could have had that one.
St. Lawrence with 45 seconds on the clock. Almost a shot off by, that would have been Burke.
Rachel Burke almost had another opportunity on the far side right next to the crease, and she just simply could not quite corral the ball in her stick, but that would have been a goal right there.
It's like in football where you got to catch it before you run. Same thing, you got to catch it before she shot it. She was in the motion, and now it'll be a free position shot for St. Lawrence. And Ellie Camp, already 3 goals on to the season. Down 8-3 is St. Lawrence with 27 seconds left before the half.
They need this one here to try and build on some momentum now as they can try and get 2 goals back.
Camp pushes, and it's going to be off the top of the stick of Held, and Ithaca takes it. 21 seconds left. They're quickly in transition, seeing if they can add a goal on the board before the half. 15 seconds now as Wise pushes down the field. A pass in front of the net to Rivera. Rivera and an errant pass on the far side as the clock winds down. And the buzzer sounds. 8-3 St. Lawrence with a last-minute goal. Unable to capitalize on a last-minute free position shot as well. And Ithaca leads 8-3 at the half.
Absolutely. A nice period there from the Bombers, extending their lead. But not only that, just limiting what St. Lawrence has been able to do so far. Only 1 goal in the second quarter compared to 2 from the Bombers. It was another great defensive period for the Bombers. The Bombers on defense have been absolutely fantastic so far in this game. Limiting cutters, slowing down the St. Lawrence offense, not allowing very many good offensive opportunities for the St. Lawrence Saints. And so far it's shown on the scoreboard, only 3 goals compared to 8 for the Bombers.
8-3 will head to the halftime crew and throw it over. Make sure to stay with us on the Athletic Stream as 2 of the top teams in the Liberty League face off 8-3.
It is halftime here at Higgins Stadium here in the South Hill in Ithaca, New York. A beautiful day. The Bombers lead 8-3 at halftime. Dean Gutik alongside Ryan Collins. And Ryan, a dominant first half for the Bombers, but more specifically that first period.
That first period, the Bombers controlled the play the entire time. The only offense St. Lawrence got was very minimal. They couldn't get anything going for themselves. They kept turning over the ball, and they just couldn't complete their passes. They just couldn't get themselves out of their own way.
The Bombers dominating in draw control so far, which we discussed before the game, 9-4 in favor of the Bombers. But a big part of these goals for the Bombers have been free position shots. 8 goals for the Bombers in the half. 8 free position shots. So the Bombers really making it count from free position.
If the Bombers keep getting those free position shots, St. Lawrence isn't going to have a chance themselves. With those free position shots, the Bombers are just going to keep going and keep teeing off on their goalie, and their goalie doesn't have a shot.
And for St. Lawrence, it's just mistake after mistake. 8 turnovers for St. Lawrence on the day so far compared to the Bombers 7 St. Lawrence. The gap was bigger in turnovers at the beginning of the game. But on top of that, the Bombers being able to capitalize off those turnovers and maintain possession. The Bombers with 21 shots to St. Lawrence's 12. 13 of those shots on goal for the Bombers.
I think those turnovers is a big reason for the St. Lawrence downfall. They kept making those turnovers in key moments of the game, in front of their own net, through the transition. They just kept getting themselves stuck in the defensive zone longer than they should have been when they turned over the ball.
Yeah, and so far, Nordyke with a massive half so far for the Bombers. When she made it 8-2, she completed her hat trick of the day. So 3 goals in the first half for Nordyke, playing a massive part for the Bombers.
With Nordyke getting those 3 goals, she was the main force of the offense. She just kept putting the shots on net like we said she should do earlier in the pregame, and she did exactly that, and she is a main contributor to the Bombers' offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned main contributors. How about Armstrong? 2 goals from 2 beautiful passes from her, and just amazing movement from Armstrong, able to find the pass in between, and especially in the crease, able to feed and spread the wealth for the Bombers, making it 8-3, and those 2 assists from Armstrong playing really well thus far.
You are keying out Armstrong for these great plays and the passes, but I think it's been up and down the entire Bombers lineup. They've all been making those passes. The long pass has been working really well for the Bombers throughout the game, and the short pass as well. It's the entire Bombers lineup that's making those great passes.
And on top of that, Lexi Held with a few beautiful saves before halftime. 6 saves on 9 shots thus far for Held, and definitely a few of them that were very impressive to end the first half.
Yeah, like you said, she really came through late in that first half. But in the first part of the game, the first 2 shots she unfortunately let up in the goal. But after that, she was pretty much a rock and stopped almost everything except for that 1 shot later in the game.
Right, and now we look at the St. Lawrence side of the field. Trailing 8-3 at halftime, not getting consistent possessions, turning the ball over, and not really getting many opportunities. The Bombers keeping possession away from St. Lawrence, but when St. Lawrence has gotten their opportunities, they have not been able to capitalize. And we look at, again, free position shots, for instance. 3 of them for St. Lawrence, but all of them weren't scored from for St. Lawrence. As Held made a few saves right there, and for St. Lawrence, you have to do better. You have to take care of the possession. The Bombers dominated in possession in that first half, and for St. Lawrence, you need to find a way to do a better job of creating those chances and getting more opportunities towards net.
I think St. Lawrence is going to have to simplify this game a little bit for themselves. I think they're almost playing too desperate at this point. There is still a lot of time left in this game for St. Lawrence to make a comeback, but they have to simplify the game. They can't just try to make those long passes, try to get up. They have to make short and simple passes to get the ball out of their own zone.
And it feels like there's just been a lot of overthinking and complication within the St. Lawrence offense thus far in this game, and that definitely has caused some turnovers. And for the Bombers, they're playing their pace. They're playing their style of lacrosse right now. They're playing their game. And for St. Lawrence, they need to find a way for them to play their own game.
The Bombers have had their way this entire time. If the game keeps going this way, I don't see St. Lawrence having a shot to turn this game around. But if St. Lawrence can, like you said, simplify it, they should be good to go.
On top of simplifying, part of it being the turnovers and draw controls. Draw controls, the Bombers dominating 9-4 at halftime in draw controls. And even before the second quarter, the Bombers were dominating from the start in draw controls to the point where St. Lawrence had to make adjustments at the draw controls, especially with Caroline Wise dominating from draw controls.
Caroline Wise was able to win practically all the draws, like you just said. And that led to the majority of their possession. When she won those draws, the Bombers got the possession, and then they just went to work in the offensive zone without turning the ball over. St. Lawrence couldn't get the ball themselves, and leading to those 8 goals that the Bombers had.
Winning the draw controls, not committing any fouls, especially what happened in the free position shots for the Bombers, and getting more possession and creating more chances towards the nets is definitely key for St. Lawrence for the second half.
Yeah, St. Lawrence needs to stop committing those fouls. Those fouls have been very costly for them, and it's part of the physical game that they've been doing. But if they can clean it up, especially in front of their own net, that's where the majority of their fouls have come from.
And now, Ryan, before you wrap up, what are your keys for the Bombers in winning this game while up 8-3?
The keys for the Bombers is just keep doing what they're doing. Don't pick your foot off the gas pedal, and just keep going forward, keep getting those offensive zone times, and keep winning the draws, keep the turnovers to a minimum, because if they keep playing the same way, I can't see St. Lawrence turning this game around.
Pedal to the metal, that is the key for the Bombers in this second half. Playing your game and your style, and not letting this game get away from you, making sure that this game is not lost.
Yep. If St. Lawrence, they have to try to turn this game around very fast, but the Bombers should be able to close this out if they keep playing the same way.
Yep. Well, we have a lot looking forward to in the second half. The Bombers up over the Saints 8-3 in this Liberty League matchup, a crucial one here at Higgins Stadium on the South Hill. Stay tuned for the second half with Alex Traprude and Eli Fishman on the call.
Welcome back here to Higgins Stadium as the Ithaca Bombers are currently leading the St. Lawrence Saints 8-3. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Shepard. Alongside me, Eli Fishman. And Eli, what do the St. Lawrence Saints need to do in order to try and get back to this game, finding themselves down 5 goals about to come out of halftime here?
Foul less, and that is going to be the biggest key, as there have been 9 different times that the Bombers have gone into had opportunities at free possession shots. Only 3 for St. Lawrence, 2 of those coming in the last 90 seconds of the first half, and that's going to be the key. The fouls have been key. A few of the goals of the 8 for Ithaca have come on those, staying disciplined, and the passing is something that we touched on quite a bit in that first half as well. A lot of errant passing, a few times the ball went out of bounds, a lot of balls on the ground, especially when St. Lawrence was in transition. That's something they're going to have to touch up on quite a bit, and Bavenzi as well has been very good in goal with facing 8 shots, 5 saves, or rather 8 goals allowed to 5 saves. But she's been impressing as well. Held has impressed quite a bit. But as we talked about earlier, St. Lawrence is a play from behind, gritty, comeback team. So matching their discipline and not getting too ahead of yourselves for the Bombers are going to be keys.
Absolutely. This St. Lawrence team is not going to be going anywhere. They are not going away, and they are certainly going to be putting up a fight here as now Wise and Claudier come into the draw circle to start this second half. And what do you expect to see from the Bombers a little bit quickly here, Eli, in the second half?
You want to be aggressive. You want to come out with the foot on the gas pedal and get a few goals early to set the tone, and the momentum is going to be key.
Absolutely, trying to get some momentum back as St. Lawrence was able to get a quick goal towards the end of the second period to build themselves a little bit of momentum, even though they are still down 5 goals, but they at least got a start of it as Wise take the draw, and now it'll be Kellish moving the ball up into the offensive zone for the Bombers quickly now towards that 12-meter fan line, and Kellish hounded by 2 St. Lawrence defenders able to circle around and still has a Kellish with a nice little spin move there, passes it down to Nordijk at the bottom of the fan, and now back around the bottom of the net to Veach. Veach battling behind the net, still coming around to the far side, bottom of the 12-meter fan, passes all the way up back to Armstrong at the top of the 12-meter fan, cuts inside now to the 8, and loses the ball, picked up by Sydney Phillips, shoots, and she scores! A beautiful goal there from Sydney Phillips, and the Bombers take an early lead with 14:26 left in the third. It is now 9-3 Ithaca.
Talk about setting the pace. Sydney Phillips, just over 30 seconds into the start of the half, comes out. Perfect shot into the top right part of the net. Nothing but net. No chance for Bavenzi in the net. And that, Alex, is how you start the half.
Absolutely. You were just saying how the Ithaca needs to come out quickly and set the tone. I think that's how you set the tone in a game to start the second half. What a great start here from the Bombers with 14:26 left. And now Wise and Claudier will once again find themselves in the draw circle to get the game restarted here. As it seems like there's a little bit of a delay here for some reason. The referees holding up their hands. It looks like they're going over to talk with Kerry Moore, the head coach of the Ithaca Bombers, real quick. And now it looks like the game will be restarted as Wise and Claudier will take the draw. And now Wise takes it, forces it up, and gets another draw control win. Bunch for her today. Passes it up now to Phillips, who takes it into the offensive zone for the Bombers. The Bombers once again pushing really, really hard in order to try and get some more offense. Passes down now to Armstrong, across to Nordyke at the bottom behind the net. Now coming around into the 12-meter fan. Still Nordyke holding it, spinning around, trying to find a teammate to pass it to. Finally does, over to the top of the 12-meter fan to Caroline Wise. Now Wise holding it, driving in, using that big 5'7" frame of hers. Passes it back around to Armstrong behind the net. And now over to Veach, who's cutting into the middle. Nice spin move in, shoots, and a great save there by Bavenzi as Veach was driving in on net. And a little bit of a loose ball there. However, St. Lawrence was able to clear it and now is looking to move out as there was a foul called there on Ithaca.
A great save by Bavenzi, but how about some football jukes there from Veach, sending one of the Saints to the ground. An ankle breaker, not able to get the ball into the net, but an impressive drive. As a whole for the Bombers, you talk about momentum. Even though you don't put it in the net, a drive like that and an offensive possession sets the pace.
Veach looked like Lamar Jackson there against the Bengals for a second with that spin move. And now it is going to be restarted as Powell now in the offensive zone on the near side 12-meter fan takes it. St. Lawrence trying to find some offense here, down 6 goals with 13 minutes left to go in this third period. Another errant pass there finds its way to Claudier. And now Claudier on the far side 12-meter fan going against Phillips. Now pass into the middle to Rachel Burke. A great job there by Maggie Mendel to break that up and force Burke to the outside of the 12-meter. Wow, a really hard shove there from Maggie Mendel in the upper chest sort of face area of Burke, and there will be a foul called against them as now Burke will get it restarted just outside of the 12-meter fan line.
Quite the shove there and some aggressive defense for Ithaca. No yellow card, just a foul.
And a shot there, and it comes off the side of the net. It looks like a shot by Neve Lay. And now the Bombers will get things restarted with Caitlin Russell now bringing up the ball into the midfield zone for the Bombers. A great job there by Lexi Held in order to get that save. And now an errant pass from the Bombers. It looks like an errant pass now, and Veach was able to actually recover that for a second. However, there was a foul called, and now it'll be St. Lawrence getting it restarted with Sundstrom now in their own defensive zone looking to clear.
Talk about the passing game for St. Lawrence. How about it for Ithaca? 2 possessions so far over these last couple of minutes. We've seen some errant passes that resulted in ground balls picked up by St. Lawrence. The last one, I think, was able to immediately get it back. But now St. Lawrence in transition here. Looking to add on down by 6.
Absolutely. Now Era Keelan for the Saints, and now passes it back over to the top of the 12-meter fan, now down below, all the way down to Powell. Now Powell will bring it towards the top of the 12-meter fan, and trying to drive in against this Bombers defense, and now to Lay, back to Powell. Powell and Lay getting shoved back really well there by Phoebe Hosford, playing some great defense, and Elizabeth Green now guarding, it looks like Fernandez, who dumps it off to Neve Lay. And Lay now passing it back off. It looks to Powell. Powell drives in right in front of the crease, takes a shot. A great save there by Lexi Held. And now the ball is picked up by Caitlin Russell and driven out, passed up all the way to the midfield logo to Veach.
An impressive play by Powell and another impressive save by Held. That time she flipped the bottom wrist, kind of a backhand stab right towards the goal, and unable to get it in. An impressive shot, and now the Bombers with another big opportunity from just outside the 12-meter line.
Another foul there called by St. Lawrence. We talked throughout this broadcast how fouls have been really hurting St. Lawrence, and yet another one called against their defense here as Veach will get the play restarted and passing it back up to Green, who now will pass it across and down to, it looks like, Chloe Nordyke at the bottom of the 12-meter fan, circling around into the 8-meter fan, takes a shot, and it looks like it was deflected in a ground ball as Nordyke went to the ground there, as now it'll be Sundstrom starting it back up for the Saints.
She was being double-teamed there, Nordyke, and she was going to the ground as she was trying to get that shot off. Just was able to get it off, but it looks like a couple sticks collided as she was. So it was on the ground, a ground ball picked up by the Saints, and a quick stoppage in play, but the Saints will retain possession, moving right to left.
Yeah, I mean, well, when a player has 3 goals in a game against you so far, you're bound to double-team them eventually. And Chloe Nordyke already has a hat trick in this game so far, and so really a great job there by St. Lawrence adjusting.
And it's not like she doesn't give it on the defensive side as well, a physical player in her own right, and she takes it with ease.
Yeah, she's a really tough player. We've seen her get battered around a little bit so far this game, but she's taken it all in her stride and done a great job of really just taking it well so far in this game, as now it looks like Ithaca is going to have the possession, and it looks like it'll be Phillips who will get the play started here on the far side, just past the restraining line, and we're waiting for the referee to give the signal to start the game as Phillips is just holding there with the ball. It looks like a little bit of confusion and commotion there in the Ithaca offense, and the referee now coming over to talk to Phillips.
It looks like it was actually the referee talking with Chelsea Martin, head coach of St. Lawrence, for a minute, while there was also some confusion between the Ithaca players, some conversation between the coaches and Carrie Moore on the far side.
And now Wise over at the near side of the 12-meter fan passes up top to Veach. Veach now holding, looking, and passes it back to Wise near side at the 12-meter fan and passes it back up top to Veach. Going back and forth here a little bit. Sydney Phillips now driving in, takes a shot and goes over it. However, there was a whistle and a foul called against St. Lawrence, and it looks like Ithaca will get yet another free possession shot. Another free
position shot. Just was able to get the shot off and was far right and on top of the metal bar. Another opportunity for Ithaca to go up by 7.
Phillips shoots and she scores her 4th goal of the game, and the Bombers once again extend their lead now to 7 goals, leading 10-3 over St. Lawrence with 9:36 left in the 3rd quarter.
And the foot has been on the gas pedal for the Bombers coming out of the gate in this second half. And Sydney Phillips, how about it? 49 goals last season, make it 24 this season with her 4th of the day.
Absolutely. A masterclass once again by Phillips. It feels like Phillips has been getting quite a lot of the offensive shots here, and she's done a great job so far finding her shots, taking them, placing them really well against Bavenzi, and Bavenzi once again had no chance saving that one. And now the Ithaca Bombers find themselves up 7 goals here in the 3rd. I mean, they have not taken their foot off the gas for even a second so far in this game.
They haven't. They knew coming into this game against a gritty team like St. Lawrence, that's exactly what you had to do.
Absolutely. And I think they learned a little bit from their Cortland loss when they lost to Cortland a little bit, where that was a very streaky back-and-forth matchup where they ultimately lost a heartbreaker 8-9 early on in the season, and now they're definitely not going to try and have the same result here against the St. Lawrence team, as now it looks like it is Claudier bringing it up for St. Lawrence Saints after Caroline Wise won the draw control. However, there was a quick turnover there from the Bombers.
And that Cortland game, the second game of the season after the Brockport win, that's got to leave a bad taste in the mouth. That's the kind of game that has to, when you look at the outcome, look at the scoring of that one, and the kind of games to fire up a team, motivate a team ahead of the season. I mean, late in seasons, we often see a lot of Ithaca teams, not just Lacrosse, schedule some tough opponents out of conference. That's exactly what Coach Moore did. They have St. John Fisher and Hamilton before Skidmore and before the Liberty League tournament at the end of the year. Your tough opponents, your losses like that, fire you up ahead of your big games.
Absolutely. As now it looks like it'll be Claudia taking a free position shot here, and she shoots and she scores, beating Held low. Once again, shooting low seems to be the St. Lawrence Saints strategy, as now they have gotten a goal back and now find themselves only down 6, 10-4 with 8:57 left in the 3rd quarter.
Right back come the Saints, and we see it there. they're not going to come down without a fight. So a lot of time left on the clock and a lot of opportunities. And the Saints, again, coming right after the Phillips goal. It took only a couple minutes to get down the field and put it in the net.
Absolutely. I mean, a great answer there from the Saints to get some momentum. It feels like Ithaca's just been having all the momentum this almost entire game, and now the Saints finally able to get a goal back and try and get some momentum back in this game. Still find themselves down 6. They have to continue to win draw controls, I think. I think the past 2 draw controls, Wise has either lost or had a turnover, and it'll be important for St. Lawrence to continue that streak going forward. As yet another win there, however, from Wise to get it restarted, as she now passes it up to Veach, who will take it into the offensive zone of the Bombers. And Veach, St. Lawrence Saint falls to the ground playing defense against her, and now she passes down to Armstrong on the far side, passes into the middle to Sydney Phillips, couldn't quite corral it. That was a great cutting pass there from Armstrong, though.
That's the perfect cutting pass, and setting up that assist, unable to get it in the stick. But going back to, as you said, draw controls are going to be big in this one, and we see Caroline Wise and her impact on the program by setting the draw control record in only 2 years at Ithaca.
A shot and a goal there from Ellie Camp, it looked like, and Camp able to take a weird off-angle shot on the far side. Sorry to cut you off there, Eli, but it looks like Camp was able to take a far offside sort of shot on the far side of the 12-meter fan, and it finds its way past Held. A weird one there.
She was going away from the net, saw an opportunity in the top right part, took the shot, it goes in, and the deficit is cut to only 5. Two unanswered goals there from the Saints. We talked about it. They're not going away anytime soon, and this is still quite a game, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, we've mentioned it all broadcast how this is 2 ranked teams, and ranked teams are not going to lay down and die late in a game. They are going to be fighting all the way to the bitter end, and Ithaca really has to try and find an answer here. They've allowed 2 straight goals to St. Lawrence. They really need to try and get their momentum back, as I feel like St. Lawrence is starting to steal it away.
They're not a big-time scoring team. Only 10 goals per game, .431 shot percentage for St. Lawrence this season.
And now a draw control win there by Lane Neve. And now it'll be Powell who picks it up and takes it into the offensive zone for St. Lawrence. And now a foul will be called against number 13, Olivia Puppo, for the defense of Ithaca. And it'll be yet another free possession shot. This is exactly what St. Lawrence needs to do.
Only the 4th of the game. But St. Lawrence is going to have an opportunity. And this is the opportunity they need to capitalize.
Absolutely. This is the kind of opportunities that St. Lawrence needs to get back into this game. If they can cut it down to only a couple goals of a deficit going into the 4th, this is going to be quite a finish. As now it'll be Powell, who does not opt to drive towards the net, instead passing it all the way back around the net, all the way to Eric Keelan. And now it is up to Lay at the top of the 12, guarded by Caitlin Russell, who's now passed it across. Another errant pass. It looked like Powell there who couldn't quite corral it, however, able to recover. St. Lawrence remains possession, passes. Another errant pass, and it looks like it'll be picked up by Phoebe Hosford. And there'll be a foul called there against St. Lawrence as they take a cross-check against her. And Hosford will now try and get play restarted here for the Bombers as they try to bring it up into the midfield zone.
St. Lawrence, so far in this one, it's just necessarily their control of the stick and how agile they are with the stick. I mean, we've seen a lot of passing, but being able to keep it and make those little swim moves with the stick they have.
Sorry to cut you off there, Eli, but Veach passes in to a cutting Maddie Hall, and she shoots and scores in between Bavenzi's legs, as now the Bombers get their answer right back as they now get back to a 6-goal lead, 11-5 with 7:15 left in the 3rd.
Another one for Veach. Coming right back are the Bombers for 3rd of the game. The 3rd Bomber with a hat trick so far, and 4 Bombers have tallied a goal so far.
And this would make it 2 straight 4-goal games if she gets another one in the 4th or late into this 3rd quarter, Eli. Another great opportunity there from the Bombers, and a great, pass there from Maddie Hall into Veach, and a great feed for her. As now it'll be another new draw control person for St. Lawrence, as now Lane Neve takes over for St. Lawrence against Caroline Wise.
And I mentioned it earlier, St. Lawrence, over the course of the season, has sent a lot of different players to the draw control. And only one we've seen all season for Ithaca and Wise. But St. Lawrence spreads the wealth, pays off here.
Another turnover there from the St. Lawrence Saints. Powell there lost control of it, and Puppo able to get control of it now for the Bombers, as Rivera will now bring it up into the offensive zone for the Bombers and passes it over to Sydney Phillips at the top of the 12-meter fan. Phillips passes it down low to Veach. Veach looks like she is holding it now near side at the 12-meter fan, going behind the net now, looking to try and get it to one of her cutting teammates. Guarded well there by Maggie Green for the St. Lawrence Saints, and it looks like there will be a foul called against Green, and it looks like there will be yet another free possession shot here for the Bombers. And now Veach takes it in right away, driving into the 8-meter zone, and it looks like there will be another foul called here against the St. Lawrence Saints, and yet another free possession shot.
Some teams are just really physical teams that now and then get foul calls, depends on who the referee crew is, and a lot of unlucky calls on the Saints side so far today that have gone in favor of the Bombers and resulted in free position shots, as we will see here. And this will be the 10th free position shot of the day for the Bombers.
Yeah, yet another opportunity for the Bombers, and if they can convert this one, it'd be 2 straight goals for the Saints, but then 2 straight goals for the Bombers, and all the momentum the St. Lawrence would have built up would have been completely wiped away. As now it looks like there's been a little bit of a referee conference here, as now Veach will get the play restarted here on the referee's whistle. Veach drives in straight away, takes a shot, and just goes to the right of the net, as now Chloe Nordyke will get play restarted here for the Bombers. Kellish over to Wise, up top to Phillips at the top of the 12-meter fan, passes down low over to Green. Green now back to Phillips at the top of the 12, passing it over now to Kellish. Kellish, and it looks like there's going to be yet another foul called here against the Saints, another free possession shot. It seems like there have been way too many free possession shots in this game for the Bombers for them to not be leading in this game. Kellish drives straight in, takes a shot low, but Bovenzi able to get the save there, and it looks like the referees are going to be calling for another foul, it looks like, against St. Lawrence. St. Lawrence cannot get out of their own zone. And it looks like
shooting themselves in the foot here over these last couple of seconds. And an interesting shot, by the way. Kellish, she almost tried to bounce it into the net there. The Bombers, they're over 2 in these last couple of minutes, but they'll have another opportunity.
St. Lawrence down 2 players now, as there were 2 yellow cards called against Kelsey O'Brien and Jackie Cloutier, number 13. And now the Bombers up 2 players with another opportunity here. Kellish drives in, takes a shot, and scores. And the Bombers find themselves back to a 7-goal lead. 2 straight goals for the Saints, 2 straight goals for the Bombers, as they are now up 12-5 with 5:56 left in this third quarter.
A seesaw game in this third quarter. We've seen the entirety of this one back and forth out of the gate. St. Lawrence scored a couple minutes in. Ithaca scored 20 seconds in, and so far it's just been back and forth, that seesaw. But Ithaca able to capitalize. After 2 goals unanswered, they come back with 2 of their own to keep the foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, 12-5. Once again, that 7-goal lead. It seems like every time St. Lawrence even gets the slightest bit of momentum, Ithaca always has an answer, and they're always able to answer back and get the momentum back, and that's been so key, as it looks like there's going to be a timeout here called by the St. Lawrence Saints in order to try and reconsider their offense and try and get some momentum back. If you are head coach Chelsea Martin, what are you telling the St. Lawrence Saints right now?
Do not foul. I mean, that's got to be it. It's part of this St. Lawrence team. They're physical, they're aggressive, they're gritty. They're going to play you hard, play you physical the entire game. But at a point, you are shooting yourself in the foot with how aggressive you are physically. I mean, Ithaca is still going to be up 2 women when the ball goes back in play here with 5:56 left in the third quarter. And that's definitely, I think it's fair to say that's a pretty big disadvantage for the St. Lawrence side. So definitely something they're going to want to continue to improve on as the season and as the game continues, but still quite a ball game left.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the 2 penalties. There's still a minute 30 on the clock, plus the minute 30 or more for both of those penalties still. So the Bombers are still going to have at least 1 more full possession time on the shot clock in order to try and get yet another goal here against the St. Lawrence Saints. It's almost funny how simple that answer was, Eli. But I truly think you're right on this, is that if St. Lawrence tones down the physicality a little bit and really just limits their fouls, they can get back into this game, because it seems like just the free possession shots has been mainly the difference between the two offenses of how Ithaca's been able to have so many high-powered chances.
And I think we can agree that the passing game has definitely improved for the Saints in the second half as well. If anything, there have been a couple miscues on the Ithaca side where they have had some trouble with the passing game, and the Saints have come up with it, and the Saints have come up with more ground balls in the second half so far. So improving on that front, but the fouls still, in terms of the numbers that we've seen so far in this one, need some improving.
Absolutely. It almost seems like the Saints are taking one step forward but taking two steps back at the same time. They're improving in one area but still having the same problems in another. And as you mentioned, I do think it has seesawed a little bit. Ithaca has been turning the ball over more than what they did in the first half. I mean, now the turnovers are tied 11-11 when the Bombers clearly had less turnovers in that first half. As now both teams break out of their huddles, it'll be Caroline Wise versus Neve Lay once again in the draw control circle. It's a really important draw for St. Lawrence. They need to try and get some offensive possessions here to string together some sort of a comeback if they want any chance of coming back in this game. Once again, they find themselves down 2 players, so it's going to be really hard for them. But even with a limited player personnel, they're going to have to try and get something going. Is now the referee signals for the game to get restarted, and it'll be Powell who takes the draw control win for St. Lawrence. And St. Lawrence now, even with those penalties, they're trying to create some offense here. However, being down 2 players is definitely showing as Powell is being really just great defense there by Puppo, and now passes it all the way down to Neve Lay, who passes it down to Rachel Burke and back to Neve Lay. And the Bombers have 3 or 4 defensemen in the center of that 8-meter zone that don't even have a man right now because of all the penalties that St. Lawrence has taken.
And clearly, down 2, St. Lawrence has hit a brick wall. They haven't come within 15 feet of the 12-meter fan. Pressure on every single defender, double teaming a few. And this is going to be a hard next 90 seconds until the shot clock runs out for St. Lawrence to try to get it in the goal.
Yeah, 40 seconds left on that shot clock for St. Lawrence. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Lawrence just tries and runs out the shot clock and just simply throws it to the corner to have the Bombers restart, as the Bombers will have to pick it up. If there is a shot clock violation, the Bombers will have to restart play from wherever the ball is on the field, so I would not be surprised to see St. Lawrence just chuck the ball to the corner here with only 20 seconds left on the shot clock once again. And a turnover here. Puppo able to get control of it, and a foul called there against St. Lawrence. A quick start. Caitlin Russell now in the midfield zone, bring the ball up for the Bombers. And now Russell driving into that offensive zone, passes it back to Sydney Phillips. And now Phillips looking for some of her teammates in order to get a pass off. Phillips will find Rivera behind the net. Now Rivera brings it over to Veach.
Kelsey O'Brien able to check back in.
One penalty done. Pass inside, and Le Natural had a chance there right in front of the net. But once again, great defense there by the Saints, and she went to the ground there actually on that play. However, the Bombers retain possession as now it is Nordyke back at the top of the 12-meter fan to get play restarted. Passes it back over to the far side to Phillips. And now Phillips passes it down to Rivera. Rivera passes it in front. Pass in front, and a shot by Veach there. A great opportunity and some great defense there by Sundstrom from the St. Lawrence Saints to prevent Veach from getting that shot off cleanly.
And the St. Lawrence defense is going to have to play tight and not foul, as we have just under 3:30 left.
That might be the most important factor for the St. Lawrence defense, is just to simply don't foul. Like, don't take any fouls. Just play good defense, lock down, but don't be overly aggressive and cost your team any more free possession opportunities for the Bombers.
And as soon as two of their top defenders came back into the game, a strong defensive shutout on the St. Lawrence side. And now their offense is going to have to capitalize.
And now Cloutier back into the game from her penalty, passes it across all the way to Neve Lay, who now has it at the top of the 12-meter fan, guarded closely there by, it looks like Green. And Neve now, Lay passes it off to Burke in the middle of the 8-meter zone. A great job there by Maggie Mandel, making sure that shot could not be taken by Burke cleanly. And now it is Nordyke bringing the ball up into the offensive zone for the Bombers. Nordyke drives, takes a shot, and it just goes a little bit left of the goal there. And now Veach will get play restarted for the Bombers. Passes up to Le Natural. Passes it up to Phillips. Phillips across to Armstrong now, near side of the 12-meter fan. Passes it across. A dangerous pass there to Nordyke. Nordyke will now drive in and try and find something. Double team now from the St. Lawrence Saints against Nordyke, and she turns the ball over, and it looks like there is going to be a foul actually called against the Saints. A little bit too aggressive, once again, as you talked about, Eli, just taking another foul.
Green and O'Brien both on her, two of the top defenders on the St. Lawrence team. Not an easy task for Nordyke.
A little bit of an errant pass there from Veach as it went all the way out of the offensive zone, and there will be a foul called against Lane Natural. And St. Lawrence now will have an opportunity in the midfield zone to advance the ball up towards the Bombers' defensive zone. And now it is passed up to Lay. Lay now bringing it into the offensive zone. And another foul call there against the Bombers. However, St. Lawrence will retain possession. Fernandez now passes it down to the bottom of the 12-meter zone, and it looks like there's a timeout called. It looks like the Bombers called that timeout, and now with 1:27 left in the third quarter, what do the Bombers need to shape up on defense? They've been getting a little bit more offensive possessions for the St. Lawrence Saints now.
They definitely need to shape up on the defense, and the defense has been the key for Ithaca throughout this one, limiting St. Lawrence to only 5 points. And on the shot category, only 17 shots put off for St. Lawrence to Ithaca's 31. Strong on the defense, but being in transition, I mean, it's probably been a couple minutes since we've even seen a ball going into that fan and getting close to the net. A couple after the foul by Nordyke on the St. Lawrence defensive side, but being able to get the ball as close to them as possible. The closer to the crease you are, obviously the likelier your chance is of putting the ball in the net, and that's definitely going to be key, especially in transition. And over these last few minutes, it's definitely been a battle of defense. In the second half and third quarter, in general, both defenses have shined.
Absolutely. And I mean, now looking at St. Lawrence's offense, what would you be saying if you're Chelsea Martin to that offense? Like, what style of offense should they be running? We've seen quite a few offenses from St. Lawrence throughout this game. What do you think they need to go back to?
It's tough because we've seen a very conservative offense where they almost wound down the shot clock a few times, trying to set up passes, going behind the net. And then we've seen a couple of other times where it was just one-on-one, pass and shoot, try and get into the net, and that pass and sweep, that 1v1 drive, I don't know statistically which one was more successful. It feels like at the beginning of the game when they did have those 1v1 scenarios, quick, get the ball, couple passes, you see an opportunity, you make your push towards the net. That seemed to be more successful at the beginning of the game. Wouldn't be surprised if that's something that the Saints go back to.
Also, I think one thing that they have gone away from is that quick strike. We saw them get their second goal on the quick strike offense, and we have not seen that again since the first quarter. And so it'll be really interesting to see how the Saints try and play this. But I would like to personally, I think the Saints' best chance personally is to go back to that quick strike, try and get those long passes. I know you have had some errant passes so far in this game, but that goal was masterful, and I think that was their best offensive performance that they've had so far in this game. As now, Neve Lay will get the play restarted. It passes it over to Powell. Passes it over to Claudier, going around the horn. Claudier going back to Powell at the top of the 12. And once again, St. Lawrence taking a long time to try and... A long
time. Very conservative, just back and forth around the perimeter.
They're not even, they're beyond even the 12-meter fan. They're just at that sort of white dash line on the field. And now pass into Neve Lay. And Lay guarded there by great defense there by Caitlin Russell in the 8-meter zone. And now Rachel Burke has it now. Once again, the Bombers' defense has been stifling so far in this third quarter.
And we talked about earlier a lot of strategy that St. Lawrence has. Ithaca's probably a lot more of a physical team and a lot faster, but St. Lawrence's strategy and a lot of the play calling and a wide variety of plays are key to their success, and that definitely has helped in the last couple of minutes.
Absolutely. As now there was a foul called. It actually is going to be a penalty against Julia Foster, as she will pick up a yellow card here, and the Bombers will be down a man for 2 minutes as Rachel Burke will have a free position shot here once play gets restarted. Julia Foster, this is her first appearance in a game so far this season, picks up an early yellow card. Rachel Burke shoots from the 8-meter fan and scores and beats Lexi Held in the top right of that goal, and now the Bombers find themselves with only a 6-goal lead, up 12-6 with 42.4 seconds left in the third quarter.
Talk about momentum. It's that seesaw game that it's been, especially in the second half. And St. Lawrence able to capitalize on the free position shot, only their 5th free position opportunity of the game. Now they've capitalized on 2 of those.
It feels like early on Ithaca had all the free possession opportunities and they were converting on them, and now later on St. Lawrence Saints are finally able to get more of those free possession shots and being able to convert more of them. And now it is once again Wise, and it looks like Neve will once again get play restarted here. Now it'll be Wise who loses it for a second, and it looks like a scrummage for the ball here a little bit, and a diving play made there by Powell for the St. Lawrence Saints, and St. Lawrence will keep possession of it as now Powell has it beyond the 12-meter, and now passes it across to Claudier. And now pass inside into the 8-meter zone to Burke, trying to get it to Burke. However, Lexi Held gets control of it, and now long pass up to Sydney Phillips to try and get a quick strike score here as Phillips driving through the midfield zone. And now another foul called there by St. Lawrence. It'll be a quick start, and now Phillips passes it down to Elizabeth Green, And now as time expires in the third quarter, Ithaca find themselves up 12-6. Eli, what did the Saints need to do going into this fourth quarter in order to try and get back into this game? I mean, they're down 6 goals.
We talked about it a lot. Time of possession, especially at the very start of the game. Ithaca was dominating, and now it's been a little bit swayed in that sense. Ithaca's still dominated, though. They've still had a lot of time with the ball. The turnovers and the passing on the St. Lawrence side have contributed to that. But they've played the clock a little bit friendlier now, playing a little bit more of a conservative offense. But just as we talked about, that quick pass, that quick strike, going back to that is going to be key.
Absolutely, and now it was actually split even in the third quarter. Both teams picked up 4 goals in the third quarter, which means that the halftime score was just added 4 to. So it's 12-6 now at the end of the third, going into the fourth quarter. And it felt like St. Lawrence was able to get some momentum, but it also felt like the game completely changes in terms of style. It felt like Ithaca was able to dominate early, but then now in the second quarter, it's more seesaw, more even. What do you think Ithaca needs to do in order to try and get that dominating force back on offense?
The free position shots, and that's what it's come down to on both sides. We've seen Ithaca be a woman down a couple times. We've seen St. Lawrence be a woman down a couple times. At one point, 2 women down. So limiting the fouls on both sides is going to be key. And as always, limiting the free position shots. What's your best chance at a goal? It's the free position shot. And with that, with the fouls, it's going to be also a little bit more conservative on defense, which is always tough. I mean, we've talked about that as a storyline this entire game. These are 2 teams. They're physical. Ithaca's a very fast team, especially in transition. A lot of fight, a lot of grit on both sides. So it's almost hard not to foul when you have 2 teams that match each other so well. And it's going to be a fun matchup to watch throughout this entire season. Ithaca obviously played St. Lawrence twice last season, once in the regular season, and that time St. Lawrence won in the regular season, knocking down Ithaca, which was a huge blow at the beginning of the regular season last year. And then come playoff time, Ithaca, playing at home in the Liberty League tournament against St. Lawrence, knocks them off, knocks them out. So this is going to be quite the fun matchup to watch over these next couple of months as the season unfolds.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised to see these 2 teams play each other again in either the Liberty League tournament or potentially even the NCAA tournament. And also another potential matchup going forward for the Bombers is going to be against William Smith. I also would not be surprised to see the Bombers, play William Smith twice so far in the season, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs.
And last year's William Smith obviously won the tournament. And then these 2 teams, Ithaca and St. Lawrence, both got automatic bids. There's not very many times in any sport that there's 3 teams in one conference that are able to make the tournament, 2 via the at-large bid. So that says a lot about the competition in this conference, and there's going to be a lot over the next couple of years. Both these St. Lawrence teams and Ithaca teams, very, very young, a lot of future.
Absolutely, and I mean, you talk about how close it's going to be. I mean, there could be 1 or 2 games difference between all of the teams that decides who hosts the tournament and who has home field advantage and gets those automatic bids. As now play has been restarted here, Armstrong finds Nordyke, back at the top of the 12-meter fan, passes over to Maddie Hall. Maddie Hall driving in into that 8-meter fan zone. Passes it back now to Armstrong. Armstrong behind the net. Passes into the middle to Beach. Kellish shoots and scores. And now Ithaca gets that 7-goal lead back as now they lead 13-6 with 14-17 left in the fourth.
An action-packed game in terms of the goal scoring, especially out of the jump. In the very beginning of the first quarter, it was Ithaca. Beginning of the second, it was St. Lawrence. Beginning of the third, it was St. Lawrence. And now the beginning of the fourth, Ithaca comes out less than 45 seconds in with a big goal. Another one for Kellish, registering her third of the day.
Absolutely. Yet another quick strike offense. It feels like both teams have quick strike offenses very early on in the quarters, and then they just shift away from it later on, moving forward. In transition, it feels like both teams can't really get much of that going into the actual periods themselves.
Fourth assist of the day for Haley Armstrong as well. That assist category, those unsung heroes, Armstrong's played that role all season, doing it again today.
She's been absolutely masterful today. Some beautiful passes setting up her teammates so far, and it showed so far. A lot of the goals set up today by the Bombers were made by Haley Armstrong's passes. As now it is Chloe Nordyke driving into the 8-meter fan near side and takes it around behind the net. And now Nordyke passes it up over to Hall, and now up top to Wise. Going a little bit around the horn here. Wise driving in, passing over to Veach in the 8-meter zone, center of it, and driven back there by that St. Lawrence defense, and now passes over to Kellish. Kellish driven back hard by a St. Lawrence defender there, passes it back across to the far side to Wise, and now Wise will pass it down to Chloe Nordyke at the bottom, who passes it across to Haley Armstrong. Armstrong now loses the ball for a second there, fighting with Maggie Green to get it back, and it looks like a foul there will be called against Green, and Armstrong able to retain possession.
Talk about time of possession. If it goes dominated after coming out with that immediate goal, they've been able to retain it the last couple of minutes, and Wise with the draw control has been a huge part of that.
Absolutely, and now 35 seconds left on the shot clock for Ithaca, and as they find themselves with only 13 minutes left in this fourth quarter, that clock is going to start to become the enemy of St. Lawrence as they have less and less time to try and find their way back in this game. And now it looks like it will be St. Lawrence driving the ball out with Caroline Hamilton who has it. Now actually it is Claudier into the offensive zone, shoots and scores. The St. Lawrence Saints caught me off guard there a little bit, moved it faster than what I thought they would, and Claudier finds bottom right zone of the net and beats Lexi Held.
Stop and strike. That's exactly what Claudier did there, and we talked about that's going to be the difference maker in this game, and it's still going to be a seesaw game in terms of the momentum on either side, which has been throughout the entirety of this one. Despite the scoreboard, 13-7, St. Lawrence still right in it.
Absolutely. I mean, we just talked about how St. Lawrence didn't go back to that quick strike offense. They just went back to it right there and got a goal immediately. And now with 12:39 left in the fourth, St. Lawrence only down 6 goals. If they can string together a couple here, they can certainly make this game close with still 13 minutes left in this fourth quarter. And now it'll be Claudier once again. She took the draws in early on in this game. However, it was Neve Lay who was taking it before this. Now it'll be back to Claudier against Caroline Wise here, as St. Lawrence feels that every draw control now, from now on, is going to be even more important than before. And now Wise will take it. And it looks like Wise is going to get the win here, as she's able to pick it up in the midfield zone and take it. St. Lawrence has not been good on the draw controls today. Another loss for them so far. It passes it back. It looks like there was a little bit of a face check there from Powell, and Powell will pick up a yellow card, and now St. Lawrence find themselves down a man for 2 minutes once again.
The foul's going to be key. Same thing with the draw controls. Wise with the win again. That was Cloutier who went back to the draw control that time. She started a few at the beginning of the game, as did Fernandez. We've seen Burke at the draw control, O'Brien as well.
They're just trying to find a weakness against Caroline Wise.
And it's a very difficult task.
It's a very difficult task to win draw controls against Caroline Wise, and it's shown today, as Bombers have been dominating in that category so far. As now Veach will have it near side at the bottom of the 12-meter fan, passes it back up to Kellish, and now around the horn to Wise at the top of the 12. And now Wise passes it back to Kellish near side. And it looks like there's going to be a stoppage here, as looks like there's going to be some form of a stoppage. It looks like there might be an issue with the shot clock here, or an electronic failure maybe.
Just some. It looks like they weren't sure on the clock of who exactly was in on who had the penalties and who was out of this game.
A little bit of scoreboard mishap there, and Haley Armstrong throws an errant pass, goes off the top of the stick of Chloe Nordijk, and Nordijk unable to control it. And now St. Lawrence will have it and will try and clear it out as Bovenzi passes it up to Sundstrom. And Sundstrom will now take it into the midfield zone, guarded closely by Lexi Kellish, and gets absolutely driven into by Julia Foster. A cross-check there again, and it'll be a yellow card. It looks like it's going to be against Kellish, who will actually take the penalty here, it looks like. And another St. Lawrence Saint down.
Julia Foster stepping into this game. This is her first appearance of her collegiate career. And for Foster, in her second season, dealt with a wide variety of injuries. She comes into this one, immediately lays down a shoulder.
That would have been Julia Foster's second yellow card had she actually picked that one up. However, they're going to call it on Lexi Kellish, and yet Lexi Kellish will take the yellow card here, even though she was not the one that made the cross-check against the St. Lawrence Saints.
It looks like Kellish might have pushed, so Foster was coming in from the far sideline. Coming into this game from the bench, she steps in front, and as she does, I think they'll say that Kellish kind of pushed the Saint into Foster a little bit, which resulted in a cross-check there.
Yeah, and it was Haley Sundstrom who took that brutal cross-check there and was down for a little bit. However, now she is back up on her feet, and it looks like she's going to be able to walk this one off, as she will stay on the field, it looks like. Or no, she's actually going to be taken off, it looks like, and subbed out of the game. And unfortunately, another loss there, another injury for the St. Lawrence Saints. Certainly something that they don't need for one of their better players.
2 big hits by Julia Foster, by the way, coming into this game. She's hungry. She hasn't played in her college career, coming off an injury, but hungry for the opportunity. Comes in, immediately trying to find the ball, get to the ball, make a splash.
Absolutely. I mean, very, very physical presence from her so far. The St. Lawrence Saints have certainly felt her presence. As now it is Maggie Green who takes it and passes it all the way down to Bella Hillman now. And Bella Hillman passes it over to Neve Lay, and Lay passes it up top to Claudier. And Claudier passes it all the way across around the horn to Era Keelan. And once again, Claudier has it, passes it back to Lay. And Lay and Claudia are going back and forth. Once again, St. Lawrence trying to set something up here. However, they're struggling to find openings. And now a pass in, and it looks like another great defensive job there blocking that pass. Oh, excuse me. And it looks like the ground ball was actually picked up by number 15, Liz Evans, I do believe, who got that goal. It looked like a scrum, and it looked like Maggie Mandel was going to be able to get control of that ball. However, she lost it for a second. It looks like Evans was able to pick up that goal. And now it is back to a 5-goal game, as now Ithaca leads 13-8 with just over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Evans caused the turnover a minute ago that gave St. Lawrence possession, capitalizes on it herself. 5 goals, still a game.
It actually looks like it was Eric Keelan, who picked up that goal in that scrum. It was really hard to see who got it. I thought I read 15, but it turned out to be number 5, Eric Keelan for St. Lawrence, who picked up that goal to make it 5-goal lead for the Bombers. A little bit of a scrum there. However, it was good defense by the Bombers. However, a little bit of a sloppy rebound control ultimately cost them a goal. And now it'll be Wise versus Claudier once again in the draw control circle to try and get play restarted. St. Lawrence starting to feel the clock a little bit with 10:45 left to go in the fourth. Down 5 goals. They are making it closer, and it actually looks like a foul will be called there against Ithaca, and now Claudier will pick it up and bring it into the offensive zone. St. Lawrence all of a sudden is flipping the script on the Bombers and getting all these long offensive possessions, and now the game is starting to tighten up getting late into this fourth quarter. And now it is back over to Eric Keelan. And Eric Keelan will hold the ball a little bit, waiting for one of her teammates to sub in. And now Eric Keelan will pass it over to Lay. And Lay takes it in, drives in against the 12-meter. And now passes it over to Claudier. Claudier driving into the 8-meter zone, takes a shot, and is deflected wide. And St. Lawrence will retain possession with Charlotte Powell, and Powell will get play restarted here as she passes it over to Hillman. Hillman up top to Fernandez at the top of the 12, and now passes it back over to Ellie Camp. Camp holds it and now passes it over to Neve Lay. Neve Lay at the top of the 12. And now it seems like Ithaca is giving up more and more chances to the St. Lawrence Saints the farther we go into the fourth, still with 9:37 left to go. And now it passes it over to Eric Keelan again. And now a little bit of a loose ball there, and a foul looks like will be called against Ithaca. And now another opportunity here for the Saints to get a goal with a free possession shot.
Only the 6th free possession shot of this game. We've mentioned the lack of offensive opportunity St. Lawrence has had. How about this for an opportunity with just under 10 minutes remaining?
Lay takes it, drives in, and scores! And Neve Lay makes it a 4-goal game with 9:27 left. Ithaca only leads now 13-9 with 9:27 left to go in the fourth.
In our opening remarks, what did we talk about?
We talked about how St. Lawrence is not going to go away. They are a comeback team. And now it seems like the comeback is on, as now it is only a 4-goal lead with 9:27 left. And now with only down 4 goals, there is plenty of time for St. Lawrence to come back and tie up this game.
And there's not a lot of teams that a 4-goal lead with 9:27 left, you get as excited as we are, and St. Lawrence is. But that's the kind of team they are.
Absolutely. I mean, they are a come-from-behind, deal-with-adversity team. They deal with it very, very well. They've shown throughout this game how they've consistently been able to get chipping away at this Ithaca lead, and now they're starting to get big chunks, as now it is only a 4-goal deficit for St. Lawrence. Caroline Wise able to get the draw control now and take it into the offensive zone. It feels like the first time in minutes that we've seen the Ithaca Bombers have an offensive possession, as now Sydney Phillips passes it across to Haley Armstrong.
And that almost hurt St. Lawrence a little bit, how long their possession was on the offensive side. A couple stoppages in play, a couple of fouls to slow down that clock with now only 9 minutes. It's almost desperation time, where that's when you really start getting a little bit more aggressive, physically, a few more fouls.
Absolutely. I mean, St. Lawrence's defense is definitely going to try and tighten up here and try and get a cause turnover, try and get an errant pass from the Bombers, anything to get the ball back into their offense. And now it'll be Nordijk passing it over to Wise. Wise passes it down to Natural at the bottom of the 12-meter fan near side. And now Natural passes it back to Wise. And Wise, once again, just holding it. The Bombers taking their time here. They know that the clock is on their side, so they can afford to take that shot clock down with only 30 seconds left on the shot clock. And they can afford to take it down to pretty much nothing here in order to just get it back. Wise drives in, passes it over to Natural, and there will be a foul called against St. Lawrence and another free possession shot here for the Bombers.
I talked about desperation. That's exactly what happened there. Natural almost had an opportunity. She was right in front of the net. It was a 1v1 scenario. That's when you foul. That's when you roll it out of the free position.
Caroline Wise takes it, shoots, and scores. And Caroline Wise answers the St. Lawrence Saints goals and makes it back to a 5-goal deficit for St. Lawrence, as Ithaca now leads 14-9 with 8:12 left to go in this fourth quarter. A great answer there from Wise when Ithaca needed the most.
Exactly. Coming back with the answer. That's exactly what you need to shift the momentum back in Ithaca's favor as the clock starts to come down to desperation time. The big goal for Wise, doing it on both sides of the ball as well as the draw circle so far.
Yeah, there are only about 5 full possessions with a 90-second shot clock. There are only about 5 full possessions left in this game for both teams. And so now it's really going to be whoever wins these draw controls is going to be vital, as now Ithaca can start to run out that clock and run down the shot clock if they get control of it. And it looks like there will be a scrum for it, and St. Lawrence is able to take control of it. Fernandez able to get the win there. And now passing it up top to Powell, passes it across to Claudier, and Claudier driving in, trying to find something. St. Lawrence has to hurry here, though, as the clock is starting to become their enemy with just under 8 minutes left to go here and 70 seconds left on that shot clock. Claudier still holding it at the top of the 12, trying to set up their offense, trying to get someone to cut across into the 8-meter zone. Passing it across now. Back over to Fernandez. Fernandez passing it in to Burke, and Burke loses control of it. It looks like there's going to be a foul called here against Ithaca, and now there will be a free possession shot opportunity for the St. Lawrence Saints. Opportunity for St. Lawrence here. Rachel Burke will be taking the free possession shot with 7:33 left to go in the game. Burke takes the shot and it goes completely wide. However, St. Lawrence able to gain control of it still. And now Claudier has it back over to Powell. Powell guarded tightly. And now Claudier gets it back. Claudier driving into the 8-meter fan, trying to find some offense. An errant pass there. However, a foul will be called against Ithaca, giving St. Lawrence another opportunity. And now another free possession shot for St. Lawrence. They've been getting quite a few more. This will be their 8th, while Ithaca only has 13, so that margin is starting to decrease. And takes a shot, and it scores. Ellie Camp took the free possession shot and scores on almost like looked like a floater sort of shot there against Lexi Held, and now it is back to a 4-goal deficit, 14-10, with 7:12 left to go in this fourth quarter.
Held batted it down with the bottom of her stick, but that one just crossed the white line. It crossed that plane by just a couple of inches, and you can see the frustration. It felt like it was slow motion. Nothing Held could do about it as the ball was behind her. Frustration, but very close, and now it's back to a 4-goal game.
4 goals, you're still feeling comfortable if you're Ithaca, but you can't let that go down to 3 or 2 because then the game really starts to get tight. And with 7:12, if Ithaca can just get control off of the draw and take it into their offensive zone and hold, they can wind down the shot clock and use the clock to their advantage, but they haven't been able to get that so far. Wise has lost a couple of draw controls the past couple of times, and it's costing Ithaca right now. Wise once again will take it, and she will... Looks like there's scrum for it, and Powell will come out of it for St. Lawrence, still on the ground, however, and there will be a foul called against Sydney Phillips there, as now Powell will get an uncontested draw control win in order to get play restarted here, as now it will be Maggie Green bringing it up for St. Lawrence. Now Green still has it, driving in now into the offensive zone for St. Lawrence, passes it all the way down to Bella Hillman. And now Hillman passes it over to Burke behind the net.
Seriously quick, picking up the pace here is St. Lawrence.
Yeah, St. Lawrence, they're starting to feel the pressure of that clock. They know they have to strike and strike now. Once again, it'll be Ellie Camp who just scored the goal, who has it, pass it over to, looked like Neve Lay who took the shot, but it went wide. However, St. Lawrence still able to hold control of it, as now Powell will come across and try and take a shot, and it looks like there will be a foul called as Lexi Held was able to make the save there right into her net, right into her stick, the shot went. And now another free possession shot here for St. Lawrence. And another opportunity here. They've been getting quite a lot of these free possession shots in the past couple minutes. And with 6:15 left to go, there's still some time here for St. Lawrence to make a comeback, as Powell will take the free possession shot once play gets restarted.
Still waiting on a couple of calls. Looked like they might have been awaiting who the foul was on. There was a mountain of bodies in front of the net. A couple of players going to the ground. St. Lawrence got the benefit of the foul. And again, another free position shot. Their 9th of the game. They only had 4 coming into the second half.
They really need to convert on this one. I'm sure Powell feels that pressure because they're going to have less and less opportunities as there's only 6:15 left to go in this game. And now Powell will take it, drives in, tries to get a shot off, and she's defended well, and the shot went over the net. I believe it's Powell who is slow to get up and lost her stick. However, St. Lawrence able to keep possession of the ball with Neve Lay. And Neve Lay now driving into the 8-meter, trying to find an opportunity. 18 seconds to go on the shot clock for St. Lawrence. They need to try and get a shot off here quickly. And there was a foul there called against Ithaca's Maggie Mandel, as it was Rachel Burke going into the middle of the 8-meter. And another free possession shot opportunity here with 13 seconds to go on the shot clock for St. Lawrence.
And you put the ball in one of the best players' hands in Powell, leading the team with 12 goals. And she's going to have a free position shot here.
Burke takes the shot and is saved by Lexi Held. A great low save there. And now it'll be cleared out by Caroline Wise. And Caroline Wise finally clears the zone for Ithaca, and they are able to bring it in. However, an errant pass, Haley Armstrong not able to corral it, and a turnover there. And St. Lawrence once again bringing it straight back up. Eric Keelan bringing it back up. Rachel Burke now has it at the top of the 12. And now it is Fernandez holding it at the top of the 12-meter fan, passing it back over to Eric Keelan. And now Lay passes it back down to Camp. And now a loose ball there for a second. However, Camp able to corral it. 5:12 left to go in this game. Very, very tight game with only down 4 for St. Lawrence. They still have a chance with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left to go. Nivle still holds it, trying to find an answer here, trying to find a goal, most importantly, for St. Lawrence. Lay still has it, driving around the horn at the top of the 12-meter. And now passing it back over to Eric Keelan. And now Eric Keelan gives it back to Lay. They're starting to drive in back at the top of this 8-meter fan now. It takes a shot, and it goes way wide to the right out of play. However, St. Lawrence will remain in possession of the ball, as now it is a pass inside to, it looks like it was Eric Keelan. However, the ground ball was loose, and Lexi Held able to pick it up and passes a long pass to Haley Armstrong, who passes it up even further to Chloe Nordyke, and it was a foul against St. Lawrence there, as now Nordyke on a 3v2 for Ithaca. Veach in the 8-meter. Holding it, shooting, and goes just wide. An unfortunate opportunity missed there for the Bombers as they had a 3-on-2 odd man advantage, a rare thing that you see in women's lacrosse, as now there's a timeout here called by the Bombers with 4:06 left to go in the fourth.
Nordyke and Armstrong dropping bodies on the way to the net, unable to come away with the goal. Just over 4 minutes remaining, 4 and a couple ticks, in a 4-goal game. And this is the timeout where you've got to feel good if you're Ithaca coming off that stand on defense.
Absolutely. I mean, now 4:06 left to go in this game. It's going to be really hard for St. Lawrence to try and get 4 goals to tie this game up. However, if you're Chelsea Martin, what are you telling your players right now in a crunch time situation, down 4 goals, and you know that this team has a knack for coming back late?
It's tough. I mean, we've seen, and I think one of the strengths of this St. Lawrence team is how well-versed they are and how many things they're good at. They're very well versed in so many things, and we've seen that, whether that be how quick they are, how physically aggressive they are, their defense, their offense, their shooting abilities, their ability to kill the clock. And in this case, obviously, you got to put it in the net, and the quickest way to do that is in transition. And we've seen them go with a few different strategies in transition. One of them being with the long passes, one of them being with the feet, and using your feet and running quickly, but Ithaca, very fast team as well. That strategy kind of wore off early in the game, and we've seen a lot of more conservative, a lot of passing to get the ball down the field, and that's exactly what you're going to need. You're going to need to limit the time in transition is going to be a big key for St. Lawrence.
Absolutely. And now looking on this Ithaca side, what do you think Carrie Moore is telling her Ithaca defense right now, as you know the pressure is going to be on them to try and stop the bleeding here and try and get out of this game with a win?
You got to stick with your coverage and stick with man-to-man. We've seen that pretty much the entire game for Ithaca. I don't think they've gone to zone this entire game, and they've done a very good job with that. Even man-up, man-down opportunities, they've been able to capitalize on defense and stay strong with that man-to-man. Don't let off the gas.
Trust your guns here, trust your players, and be able to go out there and have faith that your defense is going to be able to slow them down. As now both teams break the huddle, and it'll be Ithaca in their offensive zone here to start the play with 70 seconds left on the shot clock, meaning that they can take this game clock down all the way to just under 3 minutes left to go in this game, which would be really bad for St. Lawrence, as they would have to find 4 goals in less than 3 minutes of play. As now Sydney Phillips will get play restarted here, and now over to Elizabeth Green, over to Armstrong, who loses the ball for a second, able to recover and corral it. We've seen that a couple times from the Ithaca Bombers in the second half, where they haven't been able to get the cleanest of passes off. And now over to Veach. Veach holds it at the bottom of the 12-meter. Ithaca very content here to just run the shot clock left with 50 seconds to go on the shot clock. 3:41 to left to go in the game. And now it is Wise near side who is just going to take it. And it looks like Ithaca is just going to try and run the clock. They are passing it around the horn, just passing it back and forth, being very conservative, very safe here.
That's something I didn't mention when you asked about keys. That's going to be a key. The clock's in your favor. The scoreboard is in your favor. Stick with that. Kill as much clock as you can to wide it down, limit the opportunities for St. Lawrence.
Nordyke passing it into the center to Caroline Wise. Ground ball, loose ball, and there will be a foul called here against St. Lawrence. And now with 16 seconds left on that shot clock, Ithaca is going to need to try and get a shot off here on this free possession shot before the shot clock runs out. And 3:13 left to go in the game clock, and there's going to be very few full possessions left. Only 2 full possessions left in the entire game now. And now Le Natural will have the opportunity here on the free possession shot, and will try and take it, and just to the near side left, and a little bit of a deflection there, as now Ithaca's trying to play a little bit of that full court press now, as they have Nordyke and Veach running around harassing the St. Lawrence defenders, trying to get a cause turnover, trying to get the ball back onto their offensive side, as now it'll be Nivelle bringing the ball into the offensive zone for St. Lawrence. Only 2:47 left to go in the game for St. Lawrence. 66 seconds left on their shot clock, as now it is passed up to Fernandez. Around the horn, St. Lawrence goes all the way down to Eric Keelan. Eric Keelan comes across, and now the Bombers playing good defense once again, trying to slow down the St. Lawrence offense, just bleed the clock right now, as now Powell tries to find something, couldn't get anything. Now Nivelle drives into the 8-meter zone, gets a shot, and scores! And now, once again, Ithaca finds themselves with their closest margin yet so far in this fourth quarter. Ithaca now only leads 14-11 with 2:21 left to go in this game. And now St. Lawrence has a chance here still with 2:21 left.
And that was a very valuable possession, not on the St. Lawrence side, but I'm talking about the Ithaca side, to kill 90 seconds of clock before that shot. You saw it was 15 seconds again in transition, limiting that time that they have to get across the field, put the ball in the net. But that 90 seconds that Ithaca killed,
it could make the decisive.
It could absolutely be the difference.
It could absolutely be the difference in this game, and I think it might just be as there's only 2:21 left, which means the St. Lawrence would have to get 3 goals in 2 minutes pretty much, which is more than 1 goal per minute, which is going to be really
90 on the shot clock too.
Yeah,
and Caroline Wise is the draw control. It's a huge draw control right here.
Absolutely. This could very well decide the fate of the game with this draw control here, as Caroline Wise, and it'll be against Claudier here for St. Lawrence. In a must-win draw control, there's a scrum for it. Wise able to get possession of it for the Bombers, and now Ithaca will try and just run out this clock, as they can take it down to about 30 seconds left in the game if they're able to retain possession of it. A foul called here against St. Lawrence, and now Chloe Nordyke passes it over to Kellish. Kellish at the near side 12 passes it over to Armstrong. 2 minutes left to go in the game. 70 seconds left on the shot clock. They can take it down to about 50 seconds left if they use the full time on the shot clock here. And now Le Natural battling against St. Lawrence defenders, passes it all the way across to Veach. Veach all the way near side now to Kellish. Kellish, 50 seconds left on that shot clock, 1 minute 40 on the game clock. And now Chloe Nordyke into the middle of the 8-meter zone, takes a shot, but it is blocked there by Bovenzi, and Bovenzi able to get the save there, a crucial save. And now, however, the Bombers still have possession of it with 55 seconds left to go, and on the shot clock, and 1:21 left on the game clock, as now Chloe Nordyke has it down far side at the bottom of the 12-meter fan, and Chloe Nordyke loses it. However, there's a foul called against St. Lawrence, as Ithaca will retain possession here with 43 seconds left to go on the shot clock, a minute left to go on the game clock here.
And Haley Armstrong behind the net as well, after the great deflection by Bovenzi, continuing to do a great job in net despite 36 shots faced.
A cause turnover here as Claudier knocks it out of Veach's stick. Veach able to recover it, though, and the Bombers able to keep possession with 22 seconds left on the shot clock, 45 seconds left to go in the game, as now it is desperation time for St. Lawrence. Phillips, near side. Kellish all the way at the top of the 12, passes inside, a deflection here, and now it is going to be Kate Wilson bringing the ball up for St. Lawrence, as now it is going to be Bella Hillman bringing it in quickly to Eric Keelan all the way inside the 8-meter, and there will be a foul called there against Ithaca, as there will be a free possession shot here for the St. Lawrence Saints with 23.5 seconds left on the game clock. No time left on the shot clock, meaning that there is no more possession shot clocks left in this game, as now this is perhaps St. Lawrence's last chance in the game to get a goal here, as they will have a free possession shot here for Charlotte Powell, and Powell will be the one taking the shot. And now it'll be actually a yellow card for Elizabeth Green here. And so Ithaca will be down a player with 23 seconds left, meaning that they will end the game down a player. And now Powell here will have a chance to cut the deficit down to 2 with 23.5 left to go. Powell here drives in, takes a shot, and scores! And she has brought the game to 2 goals with 22.2 seconds left. Ithaca only leads 14-12 in the fourth.
22 seconds left A lot can happen in 22 seconds, but that's a big goal.
The Saints have to get the draw control here to start if they want any chance of even coming close to tying this game. However, St. Lawrence definitely has some momentum here. You can hear the St. Lawrence parents. You can hear the St. Lawrence bench a little bit more here at Higgins Stadium, as now they know it's crunch time, and now St. Lawrence will take a timeout to try and draw up a play here to try and get possession.
A good time to call a timeout. 22 seconds left. You need 2 goals to tie it, but
that Elizabeth Green penalty may come into play, as now Ithaca is going to be down a player for these last 22 seconds, which means that they're not necessarily going to be able to hold that ball in the offensive zone as much as they would have liked.
Still 22 seconds, a short period of time that you need to hold it, especially for this Ithaca defense, even down green. You got to have a lot of confidence. But what a fight this St. Lawrence team has put up.
This St. Lawrence team has never gone away. And we've said this throughout the broadcast, how we thought that they were going to continue to stay in the game, and they have. They were down 7 or 6 goals, or even, I believe 7 was the most. However, they were down at multiple times throughout this game where they were down 7 goals, and yet they've battled all the way back here at the end of this game. If they had an extra period, St. Lawrence would have probably tied this game up.
At least that. And this team has not given up. And by the way, I mean, you mentioned the crowd as well. For St. Lawrence, getting loud on the right side. A lot of red from Canton, almost 3.5 hours away. A little over 3 hours. Traveling well.
They're feeling it now with the game. They're feeling it right now. And that Ithaca defense is going to definitely be feeling the heat here the last 22 seconds if Caroline Wise cannot get this draw control. And now Ithaca has come out of their huddle, and now St. Lawrence has as well. As now perhaps, as we said before, draw controls are going to be more important as the game goes on. This is probably the most important one, as this will be St. Lawrence's last chance probably to get a possession left in this game with only 22 seconds left. And it'll be Claudier versus Wise once again, a battle that we've seen go on all day long. Wise has had the majority of the win so far today. However, Claudier in the clutch, can she get it? As you hear the St. Lawrence bench in the crowd cheering as loud as they can to try and get Claudier to get this possession. And now the draw possession will be controlled, it looks like, by Caroline Wise being severely slashed at there by Claudier. And now Wise able to bring it up to Sydney Phillips. 10 seconds left to go in the game, and Phillips passes it, an errant pass, and now a turnover here. And now it will be O'Brien bringing it up for the St. Lawrence Saints. 2 seconds, 1 second. It will not be in time as the buzzer sounds, and Ithaca holds on to win 14-12 is the final score here. Number 13 Ithaca knocks off number 22 St. Lawrence Saints. A great game here at Higgins Stadium. Eli, what are your final thoughts on this game and takeaways before we hand it off to the post-game crew?
You've got to be confident if you're Ithaca coming into this season, battling against a top-ranked team. And from this point on, probably William Smith is going to be the best team that they're going to face. And doing a job like this against St. Lawrence, down